But that's probably because somebody else was in here messing with it. Who's been messing with my stuff?
Gunner.
Well, he's not here today, so it couldn't have been him.
No, we can blame him anyway. He's not here. We'll blame him. He's not here.
Far easier.
Yeah. Do you
Is he ever actually here anymore? I don't even know when the guy works, man.
He's on another week vacation.
Just show up when he feels like it, kind of a deal. How's that working out?
He's got a cool deal. He just shows up when he feels like.
I guess so. I need to adjust my microphone. How's that? Is that better?
There we go.
All right, good. How you doing?
Look at you.
How you doing? Yeah.
Good to see you.
That's the thing. We don't have a lot of time. You know, the trade-off, I only get like 3 minutes to kind of really get set up.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah.
And when you got to get set up in there. We got to make sure the video's right. We got to do all this stuff now in like less than 4 minutes.
Yeah. The good news is, if you're watching, the good news is all the stuff I just said pales in comparison to the fact that I have my new Phil Steele.
Oh, nice.
So there it is in all its glory. I can't see it. There's some picture-in-picture over here. Here, I got to do it.
We'll get it fixed.
Oh, there it is. There you go.
You got it?
Look at that.
Look at you.
Look at that. Huh?
Phil Steele, baby.
How much does this cost me?
It was free, right?
No. You know what? Back in the day, now Phil, it's hard to book Phil.
I know.
Back in the day, we could book Phil, and if you booked him, he was like, "Hey, send me your address." And then, a couple days later, he'd send you one of these puppies.
Always get a freebie, baby.
Yeah. But now, rather than bug, and you know what I figure? Like, I probably got like 8, 9, maybe 10 free ones through the years. I've been doing this for 20-something years. So by my math, like if I buy them now, which I do, then I'm still saving money.
I mean, I still get a free one. I just take a backpack into the bookstore.
No, you don't do that. That's bad. The kids don't do that. Now, you know what? I had not. So I was at the bookstore. Free plug to the fantastic Barnes & Noble over by Target on Garner's Ferry. I was out running errands on Saturday. My family was in like 5 different directions because we hadn't been home in like 3 weeks. And my daughter, my youngest, needed a summer reading book. And I was like, "Hey, don't you need something? I'm over here. You need to just grab it." So I did. And at the checkout, I mean, it's like at the grocery store when I buy the Inquirer, right? Like at the checkout at Barnes & Noble, they had a stack of Phil Steeles. Like, oh, I need my Phil Steele.
They had Phil Steeles at the checkout?
Checkout. I was like, this is how you do it, Barnes & Noble. They know where they are. They know they're in Columbia, South Carolina.
Now,
they know this is a college football town.
You used to buy the National Enquirer?
What do you mean used to?
Do they still sell it?
I don't know.
I don't either. I always loved what was it? Not Goat Boy.
Well, that was the Weekly World News, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, Weekly World News.
That's the one that had all that kind of stuff.
Batwing Boy, or
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that stuff was.
And then you find out that it's actually like somebody with a really horrible condition that can't help it.
Right, and they used it as a.
Yeah, and it's like, why are you picking on this guy, man?
They sold a lot of newspapers on that alien, quote unquote alien.
Either that or killed a lot of trees.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we got a lot to get to. Phil has some good things to say about the Gamecocks and many others. We'll touch on that for you. Maybe a lot of you were out of town last week, didn't get to hear us from Media Days, or maybe you were taking a long weekend, didn't hear our recap on Friday. So we'll go over some of those things. I think South Carolina, by and large, acquitted themselves quite well at Media Days. Now, they went day one. They were their very first rotation the Gamecocks were part of. So, by the end of the week, you might have thought, people still thinking about the Gamecocks? Well, Lenore Sellers was the #1 quarterback in terms of the preseason vote. Take that as you will. It's a preseason vote. But that surprised me a little. Not that I think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's an awesome quarterback. But I thought Nussmeier might get the nod. Nussmeier finished second in that vote. Arch Manning did finish third. And remember, these are predictions.
Right.
So you're not, for a lot of people, and I know you felt this way, I didn't vote for Arch. Again, nothing against the kid. I put Taylon Green third because I think he's going to have a big year. And I think he and Bobby Petrino are working well together. And the fact that I have come back from Media Days thinking good things of both Eli Drinkwitz and Bobby Petrino.
You gonna be okay?
I don't know. Right? It's sort of like reverse cynicism. Instead of getting older and being more cynical, maybe I'm getting like softer in my old age. I don't know.
I don't want to say anything. But yeah.
Listen. To be real for a second, Eli Drinkwitz is no Bobby Petrino.
No. That is true. Look, Eli he's that annoying, smart kid with the glasses in school that you wedgied on a fence.
Yeah.
Bobby's a whole different level.
And he's got and Petrino has multiple public things, but you can't deny his football prowess, and therefore you gotta look at that. as objectively as possible, even though I don't really want to. But anyway.
It's real. Well, who is it harder to give props to? I mean, Petrino's resume is better than Hugh Freeze's, but who is it harder to go, yeah, he's...
Petrino.
But, yeah.
Petrino's number one, man.
I don't disagree.
I mean, think about it. Think about it. Petrino, let's go back 20-something years when he like, got on some booster's plane to just come think about going to Auburn.
And who was his really good buddy at the time?
Yeah.
Tommy Tuberville.
Tommy Tuberville.
Mm-hmm. So he could stab your good buddy in the back for a game.
Yeah, couldn't have cared less. Then the Falcons thing, tape a note to the door.
How bad is that, man?
It's incredibly bad.
And
then the motorcycle thing, and not only the motorcycle thing, which proves you were having an affair. And I'm not here to be sanctimonious, but there's a judgment there, and on top of that, then you're lying.
Well, then, and the biggest thing about that, honestly, and if you read between the lines, I mean, the athletic director at the time, whose name escapes, I can't think of who it is, the AD at the time when all that went down. Basically, one of the biggest problems Petrino had was he didn't tell anybody.
He lied to. I fell off my. And then the person you're having an affair with is an athletic department employee. You're lying about all of it, and then you had that goofy ass press conference with the neck brace and the scrapes and the blood and all. And I'm just like, what the hell am I watching, man? Like, what is going on out there? So yes. And again, I don't mean to sound sanctimonious, and I hope I don't come across that way. But to answer your question, Petrino, and he's, you know what, Terry? There's a wide gap.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's close to. I mean, Freeze is Freeze, and he's not. He's not the greatest human being either, but nothing near Petrino. I'll never forget, Mike Zimmer was defensive coordinator on that Falcons staff.
Right.
And no one knew what Petrino was doing, not even the fellow assistants, right?
No. He
To this day, I bet you if we took Mike Zimmer and we just bumped into Bobby Petrino somewhere, Zimmer would probably beat the hell out of him.
I would honestly think
Zimmer
that the vast majority of that Falcons staff and roster would.
Yeah, I mean, Zimmer, I saw an interview with Zimmer, I forget how many years ago now, and Zimmer's still salty. Still salty about
it's
Petrino.
just, you can't.
Classless, classless, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredibly unprofessional, cowardly. There's a whole host of things.
And then, remember when he was introduced at Arkansas, that creepy
at like 11 o'clock at night, and he did the woo pig. No, it was all the whole thing.
And yeah,
the whole thing.
Yeah, it's just all bad.
There's a bad, like, somebody movie to be made there.
Yeah, he's just.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's a pretty good football coach, and he's got a pretty good quarterback. So to come back around to it all,
green third for you.
Yeah,
I had John Mateer.
For me,
outside the box with Mateer.
Well, and that's again, it's predictions, and I think he's going to have a good season too. I think a lot of these. Look, I think, and we talked about it a bunch with several of our guests at Media Days last week. 2025 has the potential to go down. I won't say as because I'd have to go back once the season is done and look at the fact rather than talk about the prediction and opinion. But it certainly is setting up to be one of the best quarterback seasons the SEC has ever seen. I mean, even the guys that don't have tons of experience in the league have tons of promise coming in, So I think it's I think it's set up to be a fantastic year for quarterbacks across the conference.
To your point, I'm looking at the quarterback tiers in the Athletic. Number 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all from the SEC, and so is number 10. So out of the top 5, 4 of them are SEC quarterbacks in Nussmeier, Sellers, Mateer, and Lagway. Yeah. And then Arch is number 10.
Yeah. Who they got one? Klubnik?
Yep.
Yeah.
Klubnik's one, then it's Nussmeier, Lenoris, Mateer, Lagway, Aller, Levitt, Jennings at SMU, Hoover from TCU, and then Arch.
And I think the fact that the state of South Carolina has 2 legit Heisman candidates is great. I don't want to wish my life away. And Lord knows, those of you who have listened to me a long time, despite where I was born and grew up, I have become, in the 30-plus years that Carolina's been an SEC school, one who believes that at the beginning of the season, the Clemson game's the 9th most important game on the schedule. I take that from Steve Spurrier. But I'm so ready for this year's Carolina Clemson game because last year's was and those two guys were at the helm.
Yeah.
And they're going to be again. And I think it has the makings of, look, I still believe last year's game had a lot on it because it did. Not enough in some people's minds. I understand that too in terms of what happened since Carolina didn't get enough bounce from that game in Clemson to get them into the playoff. But I think this year's has every, at least for now, we have every reason to believe that it's going to be just as important.
Right now, I mean, you conceivably could have, obviously, 2 top 10 teams.
What if that game is not only like a playoff kind of game, but, what if they're both having great years and that's the kind of separator for Heisman votes?
Even better,
you
man.
know?
See, this is the good stuff, man.
Yeah.
This sets up.
Is this going to be the hardest vote I've ever had for the Heisman Trophy?
It might be for you this year. This thing could be crazy. Let's say they all play to their potentials. Let's say, Linares and Nussmeier and Klubnik and, Mateer, Lagway. All these guys have the years everybody thinks. And throw in Drew Aller, Penn State.
Yeah.
Phil Steele picked Penn State to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
So if you look at those top 6 quarterbacks, let's say they all play to their potential. Good luck, man. I'm going to tell you, good luck with that, because it could be something else this year. And that. Now I'll ask you this, and again, This is talking season, so let's talk real quick.
Yes.
Let's say South Carolina, Clemson. Let's say Clemson sitting top 5 in the country, South Carolina sitting in top 10 in the country, and this game has that either positioning for the playoff or to get you in the playoff for South Carolina type atmosphere to go with Heisman Trophy talk. Is that the biggest Clemson game? I'm not going to say of your lifetime because there's a lot of them, but where would that rank in your mind of Clemson games?
It would certainly have to be way up there because remember, to the scenario you set up, for as long a rivalry as this game is, I believe I'm right in saying there's only been 7 games where the two schools played one another as ranked teams, like when they're both ranked. Now, sometimes, and look, more often Clemson's been ranked than Carolina through the decades, but there have been times when Carolina was ranked and Clemson was not. But I think only 7 times have the two schools been ranked together, and Carolina's 6-1 in those games.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, were they?
So let's put it this way, Terry. It would be a top 8.
There you go.
All right, and then we can.
Mm-hmm. Now, wasn't there a year where they were both top 15 when Spurrier and Dabo? One of those games.
Maybe twice, 12 or 13.
I thought
then I'll go back and look at what 87 was, but it was close. Because 87, I still kind of put 87 at the top just because, man, that was a fun game. That's just fun. Brad Edwards, pick 6. That was a good game. All right, lots to get to today. We'll stay with some Gamecock football on the other side, some recruiting news, and our buddy Hale McGranahan of the Big Spur will join us bottom of the hour. Coach Billy Mack, Bill McDonald will join us in the 4 on Scotty's dominance at the Open and the fact that the weather did not play a factor.
No.
So only on one day.
You got a start bench cut?
I do. On the other side, we have a start bench drop, and it is golf related.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
sir.
so I'll explain when the postgame show returns.
and how long we all here for. After a lot of prayer, thought, long talk, and careful thought, I'm proud of now that I beat the team and I did in football career. The University of South Carolina.
Landon Duckworth makes it fun at his high school on Friday night as he commits to Carolina over Auburn and others. Welcome back in. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, our buddy Hale McGranahan of the Big Spur will join us with more on that commitment coming up inside of the next 15 minutes. But a big one, it puts Carolina for now, again, these things very fluid, but for now puts Carolina back into the top 20 of the national recruiting rankings of the 2026 year. So still lots of work to do, still some more big names that are out there on the board for the Gamecocks, but all of a sudden here, assuming, I believe rightly, that this is Lenora Steller's final year in college, you're going to have a really healthy quarterback room next season. Air Nolan, Cutter Woods, now Landon Duckworth. So that's a lot of big names in there, Terry Ford. They're recruiting.
Very interesting. Isn't it? Okay, so let's say Lenora does move off to the NFL. You'll have Aaron Nolan, who's now, that'll be year 3 for Aaron Nolan in college. Remember,
right.
Ohio State for a year. Cutter Woods will be in his second year. You bring in Duckworth for year 1. Look, Nolan was obviously highly recruited coming out of high school, but Cutter Woods, man, there's a lot of smoke about Cutter Woods.
Yes, listen, the film says a lot. The numbers say a lot. Moving up a level is always hard, but that's what everybody does. So.
I watched that spring game. He made the best throw of the spring game.
Healthy quarterback room for sure. Mm-hmm. So we got more Gamecock football to discuss. Again, we'll do that with Hale coming up in just a bit. By the way, if you have been out of town on vacation, anything, and not been paying a lot of attention to some of the local sports news, you didn't miss anything on Rasul Faison because there's still nothing. No. Shane had hoped a week ago today over in Atlanta at Media Days that maybe Carolina would hear. Here's the thing, y'all. Now, this is just me talking, so don't anybody take this any way other than me giving you my opinion of these things. But based on the reporting that's been done and the guests that we've spoken to and some of the folks that I've spoken to behind the scenes, I think this is going to be the last week regardless. Because I think if he does it, and we've had this, I mean, David Cloninger gotten some good intel on this. Rasul Faison, if he doesn't get his waiver request, then he's going to the NFL. He's gonna do all he can to catch on as an undrafted free agent in this summer's training camps. He and his agent are already kind of working that to be prepared. Smart, good for them. He's not going to take this until the first day of classes or the first day of the regular season, or even into the season, and still be a student. If he doesn't get this thing in a positive way, then he's moving on, and you're going to have to do that by the end of the week. So I think, Terry, you and I discussed this a couple weeks ago. I don't want to be cynical, but I think maybe the NCAA is looking at that knowledge. Maybe you don't put that out if you're Rasul, but again, be honest about it all from his point of view. NCAA, those that are ruling on this may say, hey, just let this thing run out, man.
Yeah, then he makes a decision. We don't.
We don't have to worry about it.
Right, we move on.
Yeah.
Why would you ever think that of the NCAA, Jay? Come on.
Well,
why would you think that way? They're a very well-oiled machine.
Well, they always tell us they're doing it for the kids.
That's right. They're always about the kids, aren't they? Like they've been for 75, 80 years. Always about the kids. Look, I don't disagree with you because I'm as cynical about the NCAA as anybody. And if I was Faison's crew, I know why it's out there, but I wouldn't have said a word.
Right, and again, I just think he's being honest. Like like I say, I don't know how much lobbying Jeremiah Donati can do, Shane Beamer can do. The conference doesn't get involved in these matters, so there's really nobody in Birmingham. It isn't like Greg Sankey's going to pick up the phone and call Governor Baker and go, "Hey, Charlie, Greg,
what's up?
How you doing? Hey, Greg, South Carolina's got a running back that they really need to get eligible. Can you speed up the process for us?"
Someone asked me if this was like Ohio State or Alabama or Notre Dame, would this thing be dragging on the way it is?
I get those questions.
I don't think it's that.
I don't either. I don't either.
I just think it's the NCAA doing what NCAA does.
Yeah, I think this is maybe the difference is potentially maybe this was a longer shot than Carolina might have been led to believe back in December and January.
Mm-hmm. Well, you thought it was Diego Pavia, right? You said, okay, Pavia's back. He had the JUCO thing. Then Faison should have no problem, right?
That was the thought. I'm not sure if that's yes to your question. You know, but I don't know. And I mean, again, when I say I don't know, I doubt that Carolina and Rasul based this appeal and petition solely upon the Pavia ruling. Because remember, the Pavia ruling also had a judge involved.
Right.
And Rasul Faison's not suing. But, you know, so now maybe they could have filed suit.
I would say maybe that was your mistake.
Well,
you didn't.
He hired Darren Heitner as an advisor, I suppose.
I wonder
back in the late spring.
I wonder, did they just think, look, we got a pretty good. We don't need to sue anybody. We are that confident we're going to get this in our favor. We don't need to go down that route.
I don't know.
This wasn't on Matlock, dude. I don't have nothing on this.
I don't know if it was that or not, or as we've said, or it's just, look, we have put the case together the best we can possibly put it together. Mm-hmm. If they say no, I'm going to the NFL.
It could have been that easy.
You know, you know, he's 24 years old, and you know, it certainly looks as if he should have I mean, based on everything I've read, and again, the intel I've been given, I agree with those who say he should have another year. Mm-hmm. I can also see from the other point of view why the NCAA would say, man, your clock was already ticking. And even if you didn't play one of those years, the clock's still ticking. You don't get to hit pause on the clock. And that may be where they are. I don't know. Start bench drop before we talk to Hale about more of the recruiting stuff is a golf major-related start bench drop. Now, you only get 3 of these, and there's 4 majors. So I took the liberty, I hope you all will indulge me in this, I took the liberty of excluding the Masters, if only because I thought everybody would start the Masters. Okay? So we live an hour away. Many of you have been many times probably. So I excluded the Masters in a good way. So I want you to start, bench, drop the other 3. British Open, PGA Championship, U.S. Open. And I know they really call it the Open Championship, so I can differentiate for this exercise. We'll call it the British Open. So British Open, PGA, U.S. Open, start, bench, drop those major championships.
Now, we won't do ours till later, but was this easy for you?
It was easy, sort of.
It's easy for me off the top of my head right now.
It was.
I'm going to probably overthink it as we go, but right now it feels pretty easy.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't put in like the Des Moines Open or.
Well, those aren't majors, Terry.
Des Moines Open's not a major?
Nope.
You sure?
Yep. Or the old John Deere Classic in Moline.
Why don't you go on Wikipedia and make sure?
Not too far from where Jen grew up.
I know.
Moline. I don't think they have the John Deere anymore, do they?
No. I don't think they do.
I think that one. I'm not sure.
That's
not sure. I think John Deere.
You still have the Travelers? Remember that one?
Oh yeah, the Travelers. The Travelers is big.
Yeah,
that's up in Connecticut. Yeah, that's a big one.
I just love the fact
that's a signature event now.
Because I remember all those Travelers insurance commercials when we were kids.
Yeah.
Travelers.
Travelers. No, they got money. Yeah, they're doing fine. That's a signature event. That's a signature event. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, we'll come back on the other side. Our buddy Hale McGranahan, more on Landon Duckworth's commitment to the Gamecocks and what else he's looking for here as we get closer to the start of the football season. It's the Postgame Show. 33 minutes after 3 o'clock on this Monday. Welcome back into the Postgame Show. Jay and Terry with you. Time to talk a little more Gamecock football recruiting. Our buddy Hale McGranahan of the Big Spur joins us. Before we talk recruiting, Terry, do you know that Fish did something this weekend that even the Chicago Bulls can't do anymore? You know what that is? They sold out the United Center 3 straight nights.
Really? Oh, so let's see. That's what, 20,000 roughly?
I think it's more like 27,000.
Okay, so 27,000 times 3. That's
Plus the floor.
That's more than the Bulls' season home attendance.
Set lists are pretty cool. That's a great shot. It's a big arena.
Okay,
man.
who would you rather see, today's Chicago Bulls or Fish?
Dude, I might rather go see Fish for 3 nights in the old Bulls.
Jordan's Bulls.
Yeah, I saw the Bulls a few times. So.
Yeah, let me tell you, I went. When I was working in Wisconsin, so I go to a Bulls game at the United Center when they was Jordan's Bulls, and they were at the height of the Bulls.
Yeah.
So I get tickets. A buddy of mine gets his tickets. Oh, great tickets, great seats, great tickets. And we go up there, and I'm looking at him. I go, what's G level? He goes, oh, you have A level, B, C, G. We had Z level. Right, when we get to the top of the level, you know what the first thing we saw? A binocular stand.
Sure.
So, yeah, that was all I saw was 10 little dots on the court for like 2.5 hours.
Well, Hale was at the Fish shows in Charleston when I was down there, so we have that in common, yeah. I don't know that he went to Chicago this weekend. I think he's probably working here at home. Mr. McGranahan, how are you?
Doing fine. You know, I've been to a Fish concert in Chicago.
Cool.
At Waverly Island, and I didn't even see the stage. That's how far back we were.
Listen, when they want to play some of those places, again, that's the thing. Like Fish played University of Colorado's football stadium for 3 nights. Then they go play where the Sixers play. Then they play 3 nights in Charleston in a 10,000 seater. Actually, I think it was like 13,000 something they were getting with the floor. Then they go play 3 nights in Chicago. Just wherever they feel like playing, man.
Hell, just out of curiosity, when you went to see them in Chicago and you couldn't see anything, how much was that ticket?
Oh God, I don't even know. Not as expensive as they were now, because that was like almost 15 years ago. So things have gotten a little more expensive during that time, I guess. Yeah,
right at the top of Fish 3.0. Anyway, we had fun, and told Hale I was listening to the Charleston show Friday night last night while I was cooking dinner. It was fun. All right, I'd love to talk more Fish, but we have limited time, so let's get into it. How big is this Landon Duckworth commitment, not just in terms of continuing to fill South Carolina's quarterback room, but is this a further indication to the recruiting world of what Shane and the staff are doing and the kind of destination Carolina is?
I would say so, because if you think about his Duckworth's background as a recruit, he committed to South Carolina the summer before his sophomore year. Then the summer before his junior year, he decommitted, and he told me way back then that he decommitted because he wanted to make sure he was making the right decision and be 100% certain with everything. And I think that speaks to kind of what you're saying there, Jay, is that if you're South Carolina and you're able to continue to have success recruiting him and ultimately get him back in the class, that goes to show that things are going all right in that department. So I think it's a big win for a lot of reasons. If for no other reason, he's just a really super talented player who's one of the best prospects in the country, not just at his position, but all over the place.
Hell, we were yipping about it a minute ago, but let's say Linares does what we all think he's going to do, has himself a really good year, and he moves on to the NFL. It's a pretty interesting quarterback battle going into next year. And I mean, that's just with the guys that are already in the room now that you add Duckworth for 2026 to Nolan and also Woods.
Yeah, that makes for an interesting dynamic. You'll conceivably have a guy in Aaron Nolan who's transferred in from Ohio State and will be going into his 3rd season at the college level, and Cutter Woods will be going into year 2, and Landon Duckworth into year 1. And I think each of those guys have different types of skill sets and are unique in their own ways. And I think, again, if that's how it plays out and takes shape here in, 7 months or so, then it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But certainly got to see what happens before then. And I think we're going to have plenty of fun watching Lenore Sellers and this 2025 team leading up to it.
Talking to Hale McGranahan of the Big Spur. Again, Landon Duckworth from Jackson, Alabama, committing to South Carolina at his high school in a fun ceremony on Friday, choosing the Gamecocks primarily over in-state Auburn, but others we're certainly in the mix. All right, so let's look ahead now to what's next. Depending on where people look in the rankings, Carolina's basically a top 20 class at this point. But as I often say, and as you well know, this is what you do, these things are very fluid. But does this get them on track for even bigger things? Are there guys that, again, to go to my previous question, may look at this and go, okay, they're pretty set. I kind of want to be there. What's next in terms of the big names on Carolina's board?
Well, there are a handful of guys who still haven't made decisions that Carolina's really in on. Amari Thomas, who's a running back from the Panhandle in Florida, was committed to Florida State since January. Then he decommitted this past Friday in the afternoon before Duckworth's decision that night. So he's supposed to finalize the decision August 9th, I believe, is his date. So I think South Carolina's in a really good spot for him because prior to his decommitment, he was talking about this just being a South Carolina-Florida State deal. Mm-hmm. So there's him. There's Kosi Barnes, a cornerback from Greensboro, who has a decision date this Saturday. South Carolina's one of, I guess, 6 schools that he's considering. North Carolina's one, Mississippi State, Kentucky. Carolina's in a really good spot. South Carolina's in a really good spot, I should say. I think they're very much in the mix there. Then, there's the 5-star offensive lineman from Richmond, Virginia, Darius Gray, who probably isn't deciding anytime soon, but South Carolina's been recruiting him since he was in the 8th grade. He's like I said, a 5-star and highly coveted and supremely talented, and Carolina's been in the mix really since it got started, his recruitment, and I think they're going to continue to be a factor right up until the very end. So
I think Gray's list is probably just shorter, Hale, to just say who's not recruiting him, right?
Right. What do you think?
Exactly. But
what was his size in the 8th grade?
I don't know. He was already a pretty big kid. I mean, right now he's probably like 6'3", 295 or something like that. He's, if you look at the guy and you saw him standing there, I don't know how to describe other than he doesn't seem like he's got a lot of fat on his body. He's a well put together fella. He's carved out of a wall. He's impressive looking dude. He's a big time prospect, obviously, but it's like LSU and Tennessee are probably the primary suitors that Carolina's competing with right now.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Hale, as we go through this, you get a kid from Alabama. South Carolina's a really nice job in the DMV. You got a 5-star from Richmond. You see what's going on in the state of North Carolina, obviously your own backyard. But it's impressive the way that they've grown out their recruiting base, obviously wanting to get South Carolina, but how I guess the regional net seems to be growing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Carolinas are where it's going to start. Shane Beamer, I'm sure, has said that many times on these very airwaves, taking care of business in the state of South Carolina, and they treat North Carolina almost like it's an end state as well. And, of course, Georgia and Florida are always going to be important to South Carolina football, regardless of who the head coach is. But as we know, over the last four years or so since Shane Beamer's been here recruiting, that the DMV, Maryland, D.C., Virginia, that part of the country is a big part of the recruiting footprint for Carolina. And just look at the roster right now, the current roster with some of the key players who are from that part of the country, and they'll spot recruit in other areas around. But I think one state that's kind of snuck up on us this cycle is Alabama, obviously with Landon Duckworth and Keenan Britt, who's also committed, and KJ Johnson as well. So that's another part of it that has kind of become a piece of the recruiting footprint here for this 26 cycle. So I don't know that they're necessarily going to be getting 3 or more guys from the state of Alabama moving forward, but at least for now, it's a big part of it.
Hey, last thing, I got about a minute left. What is the next few weeks like? Are we back into any kind of quirky periods with who can visit when and where? How wide open is the recruiting front as everybody's school, college and high school, begins here in a few weeks?
Yeah, as far as I know, the NCAA hasn't put out its latest recruiting calendar after after the current one ends at the end of this month. It's kind of like a fiscal year. They don't run, January to December necessarily, but I would think it's going to be a dead period in August because that's what it's been for the last little while, and probably won't see any recruits on campus at South Carolina until I guess the South Carolina State game is the first time game,
yep.
if I'm remembering that correctly. So be a little bit quiet, so to speak, with the guys visiting, but there are some recruits who are getting ready to make decisions, and there could be some more between now and September, and of course things will get really cranked up once the season gets started.
Good stuff as always, man. Appreciate it. Had fun catching up with you last week and talking about the boys down in Charleston. Those are some good shows. We'll holler at you here soon.
Appreciate you, Hale. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you.
That's Hale McGranahan of The Big Spur. That's how you follow him on Twitter, Hale McGranahan, and thebigspur.com. We'll come back, and Terry will open the vault.
Oh, we got a good one today.
And we'll get our start, bench, drop. Again, your starting, benching, dropping, British Open, PGA Championship, U.S. Open. Why no Masters? Because everybody would start the Masters. You're listening to the Postgame Show. 11 minutes in front of 4 o'clock on this Monday afternoon. Welcome back into the Postgame Show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you. Thanks again to our buddy Hale McGranahan for joining us. I didn't even see him at the Fish shows. I knew he was a fan. Saw him at media days because Shane, I saw Shane, and he walked up, obviously not in like a professional setting, I suppose, and Shane said, "How was Fish?" I was like, "Man, it was awesome." And then I looked over and I saw Hale. I was like, "Hale, did you go?" Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Yeah, I was there Friday, Saturday." He's like, "Hey, me too," because I couldn't go Sunday because work.
You mean you picked work over Fish?
Man, I've done that a couple times, and it sucks.
What do you say? What kind of regrets do you have?
Let's see. It was one time Carolina had a road game. So I went to see him on a Friday down in Charleston, but I couldn't do the Saturday show. And then, of course, all the reports back, "Hey, Saturday show was awesome." I was like, "Shut up."
I heard that Sunday show was the best of all of them.
Well, see, you say that. What you don't know, though, is that there's a saying amongst Fish fans, never miss a Sunday show.
I know that.
Because sometimes Sunday shows are great. The reports I got back from Charleston were that Sunday would have ranked third of the three. So I didn't, but it was still great from what I understand. And apparently last night in Chicago was something else. So I'd like to go see it. You know what, Sonny and I want to go. I want to go see him at the Garden.
Oh, there you go.
Because they do.
You haven't done that yet?
Not yet. Can't get tickets, man. And when you can, they're like stupid ridiculous. And you got to like stay in New York City over because they usually play 4 nights over like the last week of December into New Year's. But staying in New York City for New Year's Eve, man, like I might have to stay down to like Passaic or something.
What do you think it would cost to stay in New York City? New Year's
I don't know. That's just. I mean, I know what it costs to stay in New York. Regular.
Oh, I know, man.
Much less.
Yeah.
During a holiday week.
I love me some New York, but man, it ain't cheap.
So I don't know, but that's
you sleep in that big minivan you got now, that SUV, that RAV. Just sleep in the RAV.
That means I got to drive it all the way up. I'm not doing that.
Park it.
I am not driving. To New York.
Those poor fools who drive in New York City.
No.
When you're there, I'm just like, never me. I will never do that. No.
I don't know how you do it.
Not at all.
We'll be at the Nest on Thursday. Come say hey. It's over that way in the Vista. I'm
Which
pointing
way?
That way, right there, right over there, right about there. Right, not even maybe a half mile, ish.
Yep, ish.
Not far.
Yeah.
I think Mrs. Phillips will be coming by because I know there's something in there that she
really
has already seen when we got something else from the Nest, and then she was like, "Oh," and I think now she has like that remodeler's regret that she didn't go in there when we were remodeling.
Oh.
Because our contractor had some things with some other people. That's how a lot of that stuff works.
Oh, sure. Nest is great, man. You can find all sorts of cool. I'll be cooking maybe. Last time I cooked, so I might be chefing up. I might Chef Tara might show up.
That sounds intriguing and frightening
bites.
all at once.
Throw me in some pizza bites in that oven, that fancy oven there.
Sure.
Ready for a little vault?
Yeah, let's do it.
I got 2 of them for you. One will be near and dear to your heart. But first, this day, 1968, Arnold Palmer becomes the first PGA golfer to earn $1 million in his career.
Wow. Now, what is that in today's? Hang on.
Do it real quick.
Well, I can't do it real quick. I gotta.
We'll do it. Come back. But
I'll get an inflation calculator.
Think about this. Dude won 7 majors.
Yep.
By 1964. But remember, he was also known for the famous collapse in the U.S. Open in '66, where he blew a. Ready for this? We all talk about Van der Waal, and we talk about all these other guys. The great Arnold Palmer blew a 7-shot lead to Billy Casper with 9 holes left in the '66 U.S. Open. Run that one through your skull real quick.
I think what's crazy about Arnie is, I believe I'm right, the only major he didn't win is the PGA.
Yeah, he didn't win the PGA. Ding, ding. Look at you over there. I got an extra one that's near and dear to your heart. This day, 1973, Hank Aaron hits home run number 700 off of Ken Brett of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Cool. What year?
1970. And by the way, that year, if you want a little Hank Aaron for that year, 1970, remember, Hank is 1970, 36-year-old Hank Aaron only hit 38 homers, drove in 118 runs, hit 298, on-base percentage of 385, slug 574. His OPS was almost 960. That's it. He's 36. That's all.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Just tremendous.
Top 20 MVP voting that year.
20?
I mean, remember the Braves weren't that good in 1970.
I guess back then they were trying to add, use the V for value. Again,
Yes.
unlike Andre Dawson. That's what that's when I was in high school, and I kind of knew I was probably going to be doing this. At least I had an idea.
Uh-huh.
But that Andre Dawson one is the one that sticks with me like no
Sure.
other. I was like, the value that he had is in the Cubs not losing 110 games.
That's my thing is like, okay, make up your mind on value. Either you are the most valuable player on a team that's successful, or you're just the best player in the league.
Well, then change
Right.
the name of the award.
Exactly. Make it
Either
the
it's
player
the
of the year.
MOP
Yeah, player
or
of
the
the year.
MVP.
Right. You got to make up your mind.
Yeah.
You can't, like Cal Ripken won on a crappy Oriole team.
Yeah.
You can't just pick and choose which way you're going to go.
No, again, make it the MOP, and people have a lot easier time.
But then it would make sense, Jay.
Yeah. By the way, Arnold Palmer, $1 million in '68, $9.3 million today.
Nice.
There you go. Hour 2 coming up. I told y'all on Friday that I'd be using a lot of my equipment from Cato's, and I did this weekend. I was hot, so I was maybe not as gung-ho with the yard work this weekend. But that's the advice that Ben and Matt and the crew at Cato's give. In the heat of the day, you don't need to be out there. In fact, I finished up a little yard work this morning in lieu of my regular workout time. Kind of missed my treadmill, but had to get it done because it was incomplete. If you're ready to make your yard look even better and do it faster, stop in to see Cato's for the latest from Toro, Gravely, Steel. If you do it for a living, same thing. A lot of battery-powered equipment. Now you may say, battery-powered stuff, man, that's weak. Nope. Trust me. I've got this my new Toro blower, y'all, with the battery. It's outstanding. And it is just like a gas-powered one. So, service department ready to help you out, too. Stop in and see them, 4012 West Beltline Boulevard. That's our good friends at Cato's Power Equipment. 4 o'clock on this Monday. Welcome back in. Hour 2 of the halftime show. Oh, no, Jay, come on. There's a foul. It's a 15-yarder post-game show. Gee whiz. I don't know where that came from.
Man.
That was bad.
You've only done that. I mean,
I'm
you sound
sorry.
like you've been doing the show for a little bit.
I'm
or
sorry.
anything.
I know. Now it's been a while. I'm sorry. Post-game show. Post-game show. He's Terry. I'm Jay. You're you. We appreciate you
Now, to be
being with
fair,
us.
we did this for a while on the halftime show.
I know. I'm just...
You're having flashbacks. It's all right.
Well, I was getting ready to get into a couple of different things, and I just lost my train of thought. So there's this Memphis story. I want to touch on that. I think you hit on something a second ago, and I just heard it echoed in that CBS Sports Minute about 15 minutes ago, that Scotty, in his now 4 major wins, has won each of them by at least 3 strokes.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's not as dramatic, and that's bad for ratings. I suppose in one sense that's accurate, but like the guy on the Sports Minute, I don't know if you feel the same way. He's like, maybe you want to make it a little closer.
No. What is that? Ready? Can you see a PJ guy pull Scotty over on Sunday?
Well,
hey, bud?
okay.
Can you get some bogeys in here so we can get the TV audience?
Like,
up?
here's the thing. For any of us as sports fans that have a favorite team, I'll leave individual golfers out of it for the sake of this discussion, but it'll still make the point for somebody like Scotty. Or, Tiger used to lap the field, man. And people watched. I stayed on the Open. Now, I'm a big golf fan, but I stayed on it the whole time because, for one thing, he had a 7-shot lead at one point, and then it turned into 3. There was drama.
And you never know what's going to happen.
And all it takes is one,
Yes.
especially, look, the Open Championship, just like the U.S. Open, they got that second cut. And, man, for instance, did y'all see that crazy Rory thing? Where
Yeah.
Y'all, I don't know how many rounds of golf I have watched or even played for that matter. Rory McIlroy hit a shot on Saturday out of the deep stuff. And when he hit it, a second ball was there. Think of how hard it would be to have a golf ball land on another hidden golf ball. All of you know how big a golf ball is. All of you know how much acreage there is, if you will, on a golf course. And when he hit his ball, the bottom of his club struck another ball, made his ball fall short. The other ball comes up. He realizes, at least, thank God, that the ball that went forward was his ball. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what the heck just happened? It's one of those things. I wouldn't even think of that as a possibility to happen. You find a ball in the rough sometimes, right?
Right, sure.
We used to do that. My buddies and I, if you hit one in the woods, which sometimes we would do.
You'd find 20.
You're like, hey, there's a ball.
Sure.
Well, nobody wants this ball. Ooh, this is a nice brand new Titleist.
I'll take this
That must
one.
be somebody who's rich, and he just didn't want his ball. He didn't want to come in the woods. He just dropped another clean, nice new ball. So, we do that.
Sure.
But I've never seen that. But anyway, it can be very penalizing in terms of hitting it in the deep stuff. So all it would take is, one bad. Scotty did have a double on Sunday.
Well,
amongst all his birdies, he had a double.
Think about it. Arnold Palmer, a Hall of Famer, one of the greats of the sport, blew a 7-stroke lead with 9 holes to play. You just never know, man.
Yeah. So there's the game itself provides drama because one wrong bounce and into one of those crazy. They don't have as many of those crazy deep bunkers at Portrush as they do on some of the ones over on Britain itself, whether it's in Scotland or England. But nevertheless, the thing about this weekend is that the weather just really was not a factor. And as anybody that watches a lot of that kind of golf knows, and we'll talk about this with Coach McDonald in just a minute. If the weather's not wreaking havoc on you, then most of the times those courses are gettable because they're pretty straightforward. Hit it. You just hit it a long way. But typically, Terry, as you know, the wind is coming off the ocean sideways or.
Oh, yeah, all that crazy stuff.
As Forrest Gump says, there's upside down rain and stinging rain.
What was that in the fish stick commercial, the guy that wore the raincoat and everything?
The Gorton's fisherman. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you got to dress like the Gorton's
Right.
fishermen.
But they didn't this weekend.
Deals. No,
they didn't
the
this
weather
weekend.
was good,
I mean,
man.
every once in a while it'd pop up a little bit. Thursday was kind of ugly at times, but other than that, and certainly by the weekend, the weather was great. And I mean, there were tons of dudes shooting mid-60s.
Let's hear. You heard Scotty Scheffler's riff before the British Open, and then he was asked about it after he won yesterday, right? About the whole there are things more important in life.
Yeah.
And look, I love his answer. I'm going to play his answer here in a minute. But don't you love how, for some reason, there's a portion of whether it's sports media or sports fans that when a guy says, there's more important things than winning, and he's playing a competitive sport, whether he's by himself or in a team sport, everybody looks at him like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But if, let's say you're in your neighborhood and you just say, you know what's more important than my sales job? My family. Nobody blinks, right?
Right.
But when you say, what's wrong with you? Wait a minute, your family's more important than golf? But here's Scotty Scheffler explaining in a little bit more detail about his feelings on winning the British Open compared to, life.
I think so. I mean, being able to walk up 18 with the tournament in hand is a really tough thing to describe. It's a really cool feeling. I have a lot of gratitude towards being able to accomplish something like this. It's taken a lot of work, and not only a lot of work, but it takes a lot of patience. And I mean, it's a high level of focus over 72 holes of a tournament. And this was, I felt like one of my best performances mentally. We did a really good job of staying in it all week. Like I said, to only have one double, or really only one over par hole over the last 36 holes of a major championship is, that's how you're able to win these tournaments, just being able to do stuff like that. And it takes a high level of focus. And, Teddy and I did a really good job this weekend of being committed to what we're doing and, holding some key putts when I needed them.
All right, that was my bad. That was just talking about the British Open. But at the end, yesterday, when it was over, he was asked by one of the British media about those comments before the British Open, saying, hey, look, you feel really good. What do you say, Jay, for 10 seconds or a minute or a few minutes? But the really important thing is, your life away from golf is more important than playing golf. And he took some, not hardcore criticism. There were people giving him the side eye about the whole thing. And I was like, no. The one thing I like about Scotty Scheffler is it seems like he is the most logically grounded dude that plays sports. And just the comments I hear from him about himself and his life and golf and his little kid who couldn't climb the hill, which was hilarious. I find it refreshing when a guy understands the big picture. Don't you?
Yes, really and it was pretty obvious that he did. I mean, anybody that's watched enough of him during his rise to the top of the sport knows that he's not that boisterous rah-rah guy. And I mean, why expect it now? I mean, he gave a couple of pretty good ones, once he got it going, and then he saw his wife and his little guy, who's only one. Mm-hmm. I mean, remember, he's 29. I think we feel like he's an old soul.
Well, he looks like he's
because he likes to keep that beard these days, and that certainly makes him look a lot older. But he's only 29 years old.
That's it.
I mean, he's got a lot of golf left in him. But those two, his wife and look, his parents were there, and he's got his team around him. But anybody that's watched knows that's how grounded he is. That's that he's always been that way. This is not anything new. And yeah, you're right. Listen, these days somebody has to find something to try to poke a hole in somebody.
Absolutely.
And so does he not love golf? No. Look, I think he showed you how much he loves golf.
I was going to say, you can't do this at the level Scotty Scheffler does it and not love golf.
I
used to play golf. How many hundreds of thousands of million golf balls you got to hit to be this good?
No, yes, and look, he's got a gift, but what he's got a gift more than anything, I think, is between his ears.
Yep.
Totally as he said, the focus, the stat, and we'll talk about it with Bill. But I got a stat this morning when I was reading about him. So again, I didn't come up with this, but he had 63 putts of 10 feet or shorter. And that doesn't sound like, 10 feet, I can make those. Yeah, most guys, he made 59 of those 63.
Run that through your head real quick. Yeah.
So, and some of them were, 7, 8, 9 footers with pressure. You got to make them. And some of them are par putts. It's not just like putts for birdie. Some you got to make that par to hold, to hold serve, if you will, to blend two sports together. But no, and again, the point I was going to make you might want to make it more dramatic. Maybe there was a little tongue in cheek with that with the CBS minute, and I forget who said it. I'm not trying to rag on our fellow media members here. Sometimes I will, but I won't for that guy. But again, if it's your team, do you want it to be dramatic with a minute to go, or would you like to know that with a minute to go, your coach is able to put the third teamers in if he wanted to?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Now, if you're the neutral, I get it.
You only want dramatic when it's not your team.
Yeah, I mean, if you had told me, hey, would you like to watch a playoff at the Open or any major? Yeah, I love that stuff. Sure, but to say, hey, make it more dramatic next time, buddy. Make the TV ratings better. No, that's not.
No, it's
that's
like
not
I
how
said,
this works.
I would love to see the TV executives waiting for old Scotty at like 14 or 15. Hey, bub, we need a double bogey.
Right.
We did this with Norman back at the Masters once. We need you to help us out.
Yeah, that was fun. That was crazy. I still remember that.
Yeah.
That was Faldo's third Masters.
I believe it was.
Right?
Yeah.
That sound right?
I tell you, watching Norman just melt down.
Yeah. Well, back then I liked Greg Norman. I don't have near as much sympathy anymore. It's almost like go back in time. I'm like, you know what? I don't feel bad for you anymore.
I'm kind of happy that you're soiling yourself in front of the whole world. I tell you who I felt bad for was Vandeville.
Yeah.
That
I
was
still
tough to
don't
watch.
know. I that's the one to me. Like, dude, take your penalty shot.
Yeah.
You're up so much. Take your penalty.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
Didn't they do something later with him? Like, because I tell you, he held a good demeanor about this. He went and used a putter and putted it in less strokes than he did that day. That poor guy. Remember, he's pulling his pants up. And he's hitting the ball out
in
of
the creek
ocean
and everything,
whatever.
and then
Like,
I was like, man, you got to just take your lumps sometimes.
Yeah, God love that guy.
Because I forget what his lead was, but
It was gigantic.
but it was enough
Yeah.
to where you can afford it. Now you got to go play well.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get into that for you. And again, we're starting benching, dropping British Open, PGA Championship, U.S. Open. No, you didn't hear the Masters. We only get three of these, and everybody would start the Masters.
Sure.
That's why I did it. I love the Masters. I just started the Masters.
Yeah,
So,
I would have too. I mean, it's an easy one, man.
I'm just
Start the
projecting
Masters.
upon the audience here. Some of you might start another one, but I made it just easier, I thought.
Yeah.
So
Well,
again, the Masters is excluded for good reasons.
because it makes it more difficult of a choice.
Yeah, so British
where you're
Open,
going.
PGA Championship, U.S. Open, start, bench, drop. We'll ask that of Coach Bill McDonald, get his thoughts on Scotty, and start looking ahead to the FedEx Cup and the Ryder Cup. We still got a lot of good golf left in us. Coach Billy Mack on the other side is the postgame show. 18 minutes after 4 o'clock on this Monday afternoon. Welcome back into the Postgame Show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you. We have start, bench, drop today, golf related. As we get into our next guest, your starting, bench,
drop this
dropping.
one on Coach.
Yeah, well, so Coach can do it. Our good friend Coach Bill McDonald back with us. Coach, we're starting, benching, dropping British Open, PGA Championship, U.S. Open. I left the Masters out because I felt, especially around here, that everybody would start the Masters, which I probably would start the Masters. So I just, in a good way, excluded Augusta from this one. So we'll come back around to that. But first off, how are you?
I'm doing great. I hope y'all are.
Yeah. How's the move going? Moving is always such fun.
Oh, it's a great time.
Yeah. We moved and then decided to do a little vacation, so we came back to the move. It was like we just we needed a break, so we're still in process. But
Yeah.
This move sucks. Let's go on vacation.
Yeah, all you do on vacation is go like, man, when we get home, we gotta finish unpacking. Well, then you can take another break.
That's exactly what happened to us. We enjoyed the first few days, and it's like, crap, we know what we're going home to.
Yeah, you know what yeah, that's right. You know when the countdown, when you hit that halfway point of vacation, you realize, this is the wrong kind of downhill from here. Not so much for Scotty. Impressive. It was funny on Friday's show. Terry asked me, Scotty or the field, and I said, well, I'm almost always going to take the field in golf, even with the dominance that we've seen from Scotty Scheffler the last couple of seasons. But lo and behold, he continues to dominate. A couple of things that I'll set you up with here, and you can go for a while. Number one, we know how well he's been playing and what kind of golfer he is. But two, Coach, as you well know, the weather is really the predominant factor in so many Open championships. And if the weather is favorable, then you get low scores across the board. That's what we had. He was low, but a lot of guys were shooting mid-60s. How much did it surprise you that no one else seemingly was able to really just ever come after him?
Yeah, well, when you reached out to me to come on, the first thing when I was taking notes was I wrote weather in caps. It was you couldn't have had better conditions for scoring the last 2 days, especially. They had a little bit get on them the first 2 days, but I think the golf course, Port Rush, is not an easy golf course, and I think if it had a little bit of wind and some stuff going on the weekend, it would have been much more of a challenge, I think. But Scotty, this stat, what you're typically going to see in British Opens as well is you're going to see better putting just because the greens are typically flatter, and link style courses they're going to be a touch slower because they're protecting them in case they do get some crazy weather. So. We did see a lot of putts made, but this stat of 59 out of 63 putts inside of 10 feet, Scotty's putting 2 or 3 years ago was his nemesis, and he's turned it into nothing but a strength, which is just mind-boggling considering how good he is in every other department. And I got an interesting stat for you today. Of the last 112 majors since 1997, 5 guys have won 31% of the majors. Tiger obviously has his 15. Bill has his 6. Brooks has 5. Rory has 5. And Scotty now has 4. And it really got me thinking that the transition, I'd be curious about you guys, your take on it. We've talked about Liv a lot, but Rahm and Brooks and DJ and Cam Smith, Bryson's made it through there, and it's incredible what he's doing in the majors now to make the top 5 of the Ryder Cup, just playing majors basically. But when you look at their exodus and then the growth and maturity of Scotty's game and all, it really opened up a window, I feel like, for him to blossom. A few other players as well, Schauffele and Morikawa and all, but I think it just really struck me that that's a lot of majors that only 5 guys have won, and it just brings home to the point of how hard it is to win a major. And these guys that are thoroughbreds that are actually getting it done, they're really doing some special stuff. I mean, you could even see Alton Lee, like they were cutting up the front 9. I mean, he was just out there having fun playing with the number 1 guy in the world. It didn't look like they were in a battle at all. And that speaks just incredibly to like the Tiger Nicklaus era of dominance that's just we haven't seen in a long, long time.
Coach, I mean, look, Scotty Scheffler obviously – He went to University of Texas, had some injuries in college. He grew from like I was reading this over the weekend from 5'2" to like 6'4". Like almost he woke up when he was 6'4", and he came down the stairs. Hi, Mom. But the dominance he has now shown in this period of time, was he a guy looked at as, he could be special at some point, if this or if that, when he was coming through, as an amateur?
Oh, he definitely was a premier talent. I think you looked at him, he does some things, he's always done some things that are very unorthodox looking through the naked eye. You have to see where the ball goes sometimes with him and not pay attention to his swing, because he has some incredible footwork and leg work through the ball and crazy finishes with his arms. He's always been an incredible shot maker. I would say when I watched him in junior golf, and he was committed to Texas pretty early on, everybody kind of knew that was what the deal was. But I don't know if you heard his one of his press conferences talking about wearing long pants as a junior. He was one of those kids that looked like he really knew what he wanted to do. Like you said, you do see that, where kids they're trying to act like pros at 14, and Scotty was that kind of kid. But I would say he physically has found a way to work the ball. What's so impressive when I watch him is he's working it both ways with his irons. That means a right pin with a certain kind of wind, or a left pin, or anything. He's able to curve the ball. He's not one-dimensional. And then he's just found a way to really encapsulate and live in a bubble, more or less, with his family, and stays out of the social media stuff, is very, very committed to his family and his faith, and he's just really got a cool way of going about himself. I would say he's a master class right now for any aspiring athlete as to how to handle priorities and what's important to you, and really how to pursue greatness at the same time. It's an incredible story. It really is.
Talking to Coach Bill McDonald, Scotty Scheffler wins the British Open, wins $3.1 million in the process. Harris English with a big 66 in the final round to come back and finish second. And you mentioned Hao Tong Lee, who slipped late. I felt kind of bad for him, because he has a pretty neat story to tell as well. But the Americans were dominant, Coach. I mean, Rory was up there. Bryson came storming back from a terrible, terrible day on day one to then go 65, 68, 64 and finish tied for 10th. With Brian Harmon and Corey Connors and a couple of others. But, any reason that you look at for the American dominance other than the sheer volume of players?
I think it was the weather conditions. I think you when you shut the fan off over there and the greens are receptive, I mean, they had some tough pins and you had to be careful in spots, but that's more of an American style of golf they were playing than you saw it the first 2 days. You saw with the weather, they had to play more bump and runs and certain kinds of shots you only see in links golf in Ireland or Scotland. But yeah, it was just teed up for the Americans to make a run. And our tour and our development over here is how many birdies can you make? I mean, we've seen it in Ryder Cups where we set up our Ryder Cups for birdies, and European side sets it up for grinding out pars. And I think just that mindset tells you kind of where the Americans are. They're put the pedal down and go. And you've got really, two players that just really. So you mentioned Harris English, Chris Gotterup, winning the Scottish Open the week before, and then coming back and his finish at the Open. That's two Americans there. You wouldn't have probably thought we wouldn't have mentioned maybe last week, but. Maybe mention Chris because he's just been on such good form. But what's really interesting about this Ryder Cup, the way it's setting up, is Keegan Bradley certainly has every right to pick himself. And then what do you do with Colin Morikawa? He's had a tough year. As a matter of fact, only one of these players has finished in the top 10 in the majors, and that's when I rattle off Justin Thomas, Cantlay, Morikawa, Joaquin Niemann, Koepka, and Cam Smith. I mean, that tells you that. That a player like Morikawa, is he in the form to be on that team? And then if Bradley does pick himself, what if he plays bad?
Yeah.
that's a tough thing if he doesn't pick himself and they don't play well. So that's going to be an interesting storyline here the next month or so.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to you more about the Ryder Cup and I guess we'll know soon enough what Keegan's going to do. But he is having a heck of a year. But yeah, to be the captain and to play. And you mentioned Goddard real quick. I'm glad you brought him up. His best finish, Coach, was a tie for 13th over at Myrtle Beach. He's missed 9 cuts this year. I mean, I know the name barely, but not really. And all of a sudden, here he is going 1-3 over across the pond.
He's so talented. He played most of his college golf at Rutgers and then finished up his last year, had a grad year, and did that at Oklahoma, which is one of the premier best programs in the country yearly. So he got good experience his last year in college, and then he is incredibly talented. We played with him at regionals 2 or 3 years ago, and he was legit. You could tell back then, and then what's been impressive is he stared down Rory in the Scottish Open, and then he wasn't too scared this weekend either. He's got some good fire in his belly.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. But happy for Scotty. That's 3, Coach. So he's got to win the U.S., and then he's got the career slam. So no pressure, right? No pressure.
Oh, God, they're already talking about it yesterday. Yeah, it's going to be his birthday on the final round and all this stuff. Yeah.
All right, I got like 30 seconds for you. Start, bench, drop, British Open, PGA Championship, U.S. Open. So who you starting, who you benching, who's gone?
I'm starting the Open. I'm benching. What is it?
Start, bench, drop. Start, bench, drop. So you're starting our Open, right?
I'm benching. I'm starting.
Starting the Open. Okay, starting the Open. I got you. Okay.
The Open. I'm benching the PGA and I'm dropping the U.S. Open.
Okay.
Whoa!
Well, because the U.S. Open's just it's a torture.
Yeah, it's
fest.
It's more my angst toward the course setup and all. It's obviously nothing against my homeland.
Yeah. Appreciate you as always, man. Good luck with the move. We'll holler at you.
See you, man.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
That's our good friend, Coach Bill McDonald. Terry's going to break down some quarterbacks across the league on the other side. It's the Postgame Show.
We always talk about the Nest in the Vista on Gadsden. Jay will tell you, Jay's wife will tell you, you go into the Nest, you take a walk around that showroom, you look about the things that you might be interested in, you talk to one of the experts who know what is up, 70 years of experience, you have a conversation, you talk about your budget, you talk about your goals, your vision, what you're looking for. No matter what your budget is, why you got a lot of money or you got Terry Ford money, they will make it happen for you at the Nest. It's very simple. A lot of times you just make that phone call and you tell them what's going on and they'll set an appointment for you. You come in and they will make sure you walk out happy. 803-978-2025. It's 803-978-2025. The Nest in the Vista on Gadsden. Give them a call. They'll get you hooked up. Taking a look, our first look at the roads this afternoon on a very hot, sweltering, humid day. In Columbia, we have an accident, Bush River Road at I-20. Congreve Road at Garner's Ferry, also an accident reported in Lexington, North Lake Drive at Pilgrim Church Road. Sunset Boulevard, Mineral Springs Road as well in Lexington. Also, we have road construction in the usual places, so hey, take your time.
"25 minutes in front of 5 o'clock here on a Monday afternoon." Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Coming up in just a bit, we'll have Jay or Nay, top of the 5 headlines. Go over some more Gamecock recruiting for you around 5:15. Terry has done quarterback math. I don't do math unless I really, really have to. And I joked with Terry this morning when we were talking about the show. And I was like, all right, listen, you're going to have to help me once we get live on the air with this to not get confused by all the math. And then it made me wonder when I hung up with you, I was like, why in the hell did he do all that math? Because I don't even know how you got there. So there you go. You get to turn your microphone on, man. It's radio.
Wrong one. I hit this thing called jelly. What is this? It's on the board. There's a thing called jelly.
It's probably something Dave has.
Yeah, probably. You hit it and jelly comes out of the board.
Would not surprise me.
Dave put it in.
It would not surprise me.
It should say honey bun.
It would not surprise
It
me.
would not surprise me either. Dave told me he's on this, on this health thing now. And
Is it sugar-free honey bun?
Yeah, diet honey buns. He's having diet honey buns. They're really good. Diet honey buns.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A low-sugar honey bun.
It's got that aftertaste.
Only 3,000 calories.
That's right. Comes with a heart pump. It's awesome. All right, so I decided we were talking quarterbacks. We all yap quarterbacks, right?
Yes.
This, that, and the other.
Yes.
So I said, what the heck? Let's dig into this a little bit. So I use my, you know me, I love me my Pro Football Focus.
Sure.
Not as much as Ken Palm, but I love me my Pro Football Focus. So I decided to take a look at the returning quarterbacks, the 6.
Okay.
Garrett Nussmeier, Lenore Sellers,
Yep.
Taylor Green,
Yep.
DJ Lagway,
Yep.
Marcel Reed, Diego Pavia, the 6 we know are coming back and start. The only 6 returning starters in the SEC.
Yes.
Then I looked at 3 guys
At their respective schools.
At their respective schools.
Yes.
Then we looked at 3 guys who we feel pretty good about that will be starting in John Mateer at Oklahoma, Arch Manning, Texas, Jackson Arnold at Auburn. So and I put those guys in a separate area than the top 6 returning. I put them in a category, kind of got a second category. So I looked at what their numbers were completion percentage-wise versus pressure, what their completion percentage was when they throw between 10 and 19 yards down the field, what they did 20-plus yards down the field in completion percentage. So I broke those 3 down first. We'll start there. Under pressure, Lenore Sellers was number 3 behind Garrett Nussmeier. DJ Lagway was the best at 50%.
Okay.
Nussmeier 49.6 and then Sellers 48.8. So it was pretty close with those top 3 guys.
Right.
Then you get to how accurate are you between 10 and 19 yards? To me, that's a sweet spot of a passing game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be efficient between 10 and 19 yards. Number 1 between 10 and 19 yards was your boy Taylor Green at Arkansas.
Right.
Marcel Reed was then second. Lenore Sellers was third at 54.5%. Okay. So far, Sellers is sitting in the top 3 in both of these categories.
Yep.
Then you get to 20-plus yards down the field. The number 1 deep ball thrower is DJ Lagway at Florida. So Lagway is the best under pressure and the best throwing the deep ball. Number 2 throwing the deep ball, some guy named Lenore Sellers, South Carolina, at 51.4. He didn't throw a lot of them compared to these other guys.
Oh, I was going to say, how many did Lagway and Lenoris throw? How do you...
To me, I think the completion percentage, I like that because, again, if we start going by how many you throw, then obviously someone like Nussmeier, who threw the ball all over the yard, gets kind of more of a push because he had more attempts.
Yeah.
So with Sellers and Lagway, they aren't throwing it as much as, like, for an example, Nussmeier would be throwing it down the field. But they were much more accurate. For example, Nussmeier only hit about 35% of his deep balls. At LSU. His numbers were surprising. We'll get to the final number here in a minute. Where he was at was kind of like, I didn't see that. All right, so I looked at all those numbers of completion percentage in those areas. Then Pro Football Focus has this thing called big time throws, which basically is you made a hell of a throw. I'm going to make it easy and not go into all the definition. Basically, you made a heck of a throw.
Now, is this like a 40-plus yarder?
No, you just make a heck of a throw. It could be 18-yarder on a rope between 3 defenders. It could be 40 yards down the field. It could be a crossing route where you let a guy perfect for 35.
All right, is that like
They deem it as a big-time throw.
Like the Lenoris to Harbor throw in Tuscaloosa?
Could be, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so the big-time throws. I went with percentage because, again, some guys throw more of these than others.
Yeah.
Number 1 in big-time throws, again, DJ Lagway, 11.6%. Far and away the leader. Now, Lenore Sellers was kind of in the middle of the pack with this one at 4.1%. Didn't hurt him. The one thing that hurt Lenoris, and if it wasn't for this one metric and one stat, Lenore Sellers would have been number 1 in this whole exercise. Turnover-worthy plays. Fumbles, interceptions, putting the ball in danger. Lenoris, 5.1%. 19 times he put the ball in danger last year. Really, it was the first half of the year. Second half of the year, he didn't do it anywhere near as much. So his turnover-worthy percentage was 5.1, and that led all these guys.
Okay.
So if you take all these numbers, Jay, and I threw in this thing called true completion percentage, which basically means you threw a good pass.
All right.
Is that a good definition for you?
That sounds good.
So when I took all these
I'm
numbers,
taking your word for it, man.
I took all these metric numbers because I have no life. I have zero life. The number 1 quarterback was DJ Lagway. Number 2 was Lenoris. Number 3 out of the 6 guys would have been your boy Green at Arkansas.
Okay.
Number 4 was Garrett Nussmeier.
Wow.
5, Diego Pavia. 6 was Marcel Reed. Remember, Marcel Reed struggled down the stretch.
Yeah.
The 3 guys who aren't proven yet in the SEC, Mateer, Arch Manning, and Jackson Arnold. Mateer would have been number 3 overall in this exercise. Mateer had some good numbers at Washington State. Arch would have been ahead of both Green and Nussmeier, and he would have finished in 4th because in the little bit that Arch played, and again, he didn't play against great teams, but Arch's numbers were good. Jackson Arnold would have been next to last in this exercise if you'd have put him in with the 6 returnees.
Huh.
So the surprise here was DJ Lagway being number 1. That was on the strength of how good he was versus pressure, how well he threw a deep ball. Those 2 things really stood out.
And I'm curious from your own perspective of looking at this and having watched the season unfold last year, are you, what's the word I'm looking for? Not confident, but do you feel good about being able to measure them against each other based on how often they play? Because Lagway missed some time, Lenoris missed some time. Everybody misses a little bit here and there, but do you feel like the sample sizes are big enough to give you the reading on it you're really looking for?
I will say this. The biggest question mark will be the fact that Lagway did miss time, and he still got some – the injury stuff they say he's fine, but he spent some off-season with the injury stuff.
Well,
too.
he didn't play in the spring.
Right. So I think Lagway's the biggest question mark because of games. Lenoris played more games than Lagway did.
But Lenoris missed, what, one whole game
1.5,
and then
right?
2 halves.
Yeah, so maybe you put together.
Well, maybe not 2 halves, but close to
the
it.
LSU half, and then he missed the
sometime with Kentucky.
full game, and then some
like
Kentucky
a quarter
time.
against Kentucky. Yeah.
I think you got. I think obviously you don't have the sample size you have with Nussmeier. I mean, Pavia played at another level, but he did play a lot. Green played, remember, at Boise State and then transferred to Arkansas, so he's more experienced. Out of all of them, obviously, Nussmeier's got the most skins in the game, right? He's thrown the ball all over the place. He threw for over 4,000 yards. He's got weapons all around him. If you break into the numbers some more, though, there are some things about him, efficiency-wise, where you do kind of raise an eyebrow and say, interesting, he's got all these weapons. That team is built around the offense, But there were some things with Nussmeier that I was a little surprised seeing some of these deep dive numbers.
Yeah, and again, how much of that? And I'm asking, I don't know, is because he throws it so much.
And they're so dependent on him.
Yeah.
Which is not healthy.
No, they'd like to run the ball more. They'd like to run and that's one of the things that plagued Georgia last year too. Again, we talked about it a bunch. That Georgia just was not, which again is the irony of ironies that Georgia couldn't run the ball.
And one of the things Lagway has in his favor, Florida's got 2 All-SEC linemen and a good offensive line coming back. Florida up front on the offensive side of the ball, good offensive line.
Yeah, the best center and then one of the top 4. Yeah, at least on the projected.
And they
first
will
team.
run the ball.
Yes.
There's no doubt. So that's going to help Lagway. I just think looking at all this, I think if you circle back to South Carolina, you feel good in the direction Lennar Sellers is going because a lot of this was the second half of the season.
Yeah.
So it makes
and
you
he
feel
was
good.
way better with like 4 and 4 in the first half, turnovers and touchdowns, and then 14 and 3 in the second.
Just took off in the second half. So I was surprised how high Lenore's ended up on this thing.
Jay or nay on the other side, you're listening to the postgame show. 11 minutes in front of 5 o'clock here on a Monday afternoon. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Start, bench, drop. The Open, or the British Open, whichever you prefer to call it. Officially, it is the Open Championship. PGA Championship, U.S. Open. Again, if you're just tuning in, you said, well, where's the Masters? I left the Masters out for a good reason, because I think about 99% of people that would participate in today's start, bench, drop would start the Masters. Or maybe I'm just projecting myself onto my audience, because I would have started the Masters.
So Columbia, South Carolina, how far is that from Augusta?
It's about an hour, or about 60 miles, depending on how you want to look at it. You made it here. Hold on. Let's do this real quick. Let's take our location in downtown Columbia, where we basically take number 1 over to I-20 and head over. So let's do this. Let's go Augusta National Golf Club. You can keep talking if you want to while I do this.
No, I'm mesmerized by what you're doing.
All right, Augusta National Golf Club. From where we are says 72 miles.
All right. So I think folks here would take the Masters.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yes. So I think it's right you moved it out.
I mean, yeah. It's just, and even I think if you live in Butte, Montana, you're going to probably start the Masters.
No, Butte, Montana, people don't like them. They're not down with the Masters.
I see.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
They don't like pimento cheese.
No, they hate pimento cheese. You're not down with that at all.
I had to get you to eat pimento cheese a couple years.
Yeah, you got me to eat it, man. I wasn't going to do it.
Have you become a fan of pimento cheese?
It's all right. I've grown to like it more. I mean, I can put it this way. Collard greens, no thanks. Grits, no thanks. But the pimento cheese, I've warmed up to the pimento cheese.
Okay, that's good.
I'm okay with that.
Good. What's wrong with collards? Well, you don't eat anything green. You and Dave have that in common.
Exactly. I am allergic to all green vegetables. I break out.
You know,
Things happen to me.
They're good for you. You know that, right?
Oh, they are not. Stop that myth you healthy people have been passing along about vegetables.
Well, I don't know how healthy I am, but I do like vegetables. Made some really good oven roasted green beans last night.
See, I like green beans. I'm okay
Put
with green
a little teriyaki
beans.
sauce on it. We had like a Japanese
That actually
thing
sounds good.
Yeah.
I think I could do that.
Yeah.
So I can't do like lima beans, navy beans, pinto beans.
Dude, you never had them good, which I don't understand.
Yeah, my dad would take them out of the can and put them in a pot and warm them up.
No.
That's not it?
No.
That's not it?
No. You gotta do it the right way.
That's not the right way?
No, with a ham hock in there, and you let them simmer all day, and then you eat them that night. They're great.
So I need a ham hock. That's the key here.
It certainly helps.
I need a hock of ham. Where do I get a hock of ham?
You go to your butcher. They sell it at the store.
All right.
That or some fat back. All right, what do you got?
Let's get this going. Jay or nay? I gotta get this set up correctly.
It's like a green bean question.
Yes. Green beans or pinto beans? No. All right. This play right here.
High and deep to right. Over toward the line, Acuna's got it. Tagging from second is Bebas. Whoa! They got him! Are you kidding me?
Is that the defensive player of the year in Major League Baseball, Jay or nay?
Jay.
What a throw.
Jay.
Man. He's flat-footed, bro.
Yeah, 301 feet.
And again, one of the worst base running plays.
Well,
of the season,
yeah, I
too,
mean, you should have been. What are you doing? But
Right.
you got deked.
Yeah.
But still,
that throw was
it's
filthy.
a laser beam, man.
Filthy.
301 feet.
I'm with you.
On
Best
a
player
line.
of the year. Best defensive player of the year.
On a line. So think about it, y'all. From goal line to goal line plus a foot on a rope.
And Beth, it didn't look like he put any effort into it.
On a
That's
rope.
was the scariest part of it.
Yeah.
It was like he was playing catch.
I mean, that's
It was vile. It was
again
just
goal
vile.
line to goal line on a rope.
All right. Jake Retzloff, former BYU quarterback, will go to Tulane. John Summerall, the coach of Tulane, recruited Retzloff when Summerall was at Troy.
Yeah,
Obviously, Retzloff has a checkered history.
he does.
Jay or nay, if Jay's the head coach of Tulane, are you recruiting Jake Retzloff to play football for you? Is the juice worth the squeeze?
I don't like the things that are in his past, but I guess that's been resolved. So, sexual assault charges, it's always a he said, she said in a lot of cases. I say always, but, so often. But, again, it was resolved, and he's eligible to play But if it's me, nay.
Okay. Unfortunately, the young lad from Cosby, you heard about this, Malcolm Jamal
Warner, yeah.
Drowned on a family vacation at 54 years old.
My age.
It's sad.
Yeah, he's my age.
It's a shame, but brings me to a childhood question. Big fan of the Cosby Show, Jay or nay, when you were growing up?
I was, and I realize now that there's some stain to that one too, because of some of the things that Mr. Cosby, Dr. Cosby, has done. So, like, I was actually surprised when I was scrolling through cable the other day, and I was like, "Oh, this is still on somewhere."
Yeah,
but
I watched it when I was a kid
in the '80s. I mean, it was a great show.
I won't lie to you. Then I found Married with Children.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
You didn't like Married with Children? Is that a nay?
Yeah, that's a big. I didn't like that one.
Oh, I love Married with
Christina
Children.
Applegate, maybe, but not the show. Hour 3 coming up. Griffin Pools and Spas, ready to help you and your family have those great backyard vacations every day. They have been doing this way back since 1976 when Stan Griffin started the company. Now they're into custom pool design with saltwater pools, chlorine pools. They're with you from start to finish. Excellent equipment, excellent maintenance. And listen, yes, you're going to get your backyard torn up for a bit, and it's going to be like, hey, what's going on here? Well, they're with you every single step to make sure you know exactly what they're doing, exactly what's going on. And then before you know it, boom, there it is, that brand new pool that you and your family have wanted for so long. It's a fantastic time to call them, just steps away from the Lake Murray Dam in Lexington. You can call them at 803-957-2121 and learn about all they do when you visit griffinpoolsandspas.com. But remember, invite us over for a dip.
All right, quick check on the traffic in the Midlands on your way home on this muggy, miserable, hot Monday. We have an accident, Bush River Road at I-20. Also another accident, Congaree at Garner's Ferry. I-20 eastbound at US 601, exit 92. Lexington, still accident reported at North Lake Drive at Pilgrim Church Road. Bonnie Blink Road at Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane, also There's a blocking there because of bridge work. And again, today, very hot. Heat index at one point way over 100, between 105 and 110. Supposed to ready cool off to 92 tomorrow.
It is 5 o'clock news time here on this Monday. It's also the final hour of the postgame show. Welcome back in alongside Terry Ford. I'm Jay Phillips. We start with the big news that happened on Friday, but if you were maybe away this weekend and didn't get a chance to hear this, South Carolina landed one of the best available quarterbacks out of this year's recruiting class. His name is Landon Duckworth. He's from Jackson, Alabama, a four-star kid. He had actually been a Gamecock commitment a couple of years ago, had committed initially to Dowell Loggins. But when Dowell moved on to become head coach at Appalachian State, Landon decommitted from South Carolina, smartly, in my opinion. He still loved the school, but wanted to make sure that any relationship he might have at Carolina was going to be good. And, again, being a kid from the state of Alabama, was also heavily recruited by Auburn. But on Friday night, he announced that Carolina was the choice. He had several offers, including Mississippi, Florida State, Georgia, A&M, Florida, Oregon, North Carolina, and Arkansas. But, again, had come down to the final two of the Gamecocks and the Auburn Tigers. Recently, when speaking to On3, that's where Gamecock Central works, he said, quote, "When I decommitted, there was no love lost for me. Coach Beamer is a great coach, and he's always been great with me. The connection that we have goes back a long time. Coach Beamer and the people there always make me feel at home." Landon Duckworth is currently going into his senior year, 6'3", 180 pounds, and is the number 8 quarterback nationally in this recruiting class. And read some things about him, Terry. He was part of the Elite 11 camp a few weeks back. Terrific reviews on him. He is certainly seen as a tremendous athlete, and I did see yesterday, because I read about it first, and so I went and looked him up, some of his basketball
How about that
highlights.
mixtape?
You know, and you're like, oh, and I mean, y'all, he has,
He can throw down,
he
man.
has slam dunk contest winning efforts. But it, kind of proves his athleticism. But they do like his arm. Obviously, like a lot of high school kids, even if you're the most polished passer, you can always get better. So he's going to need to improve on that this senior season, and that's going to be some of the stuff that he's working on. But it's a big get. And when you include him this time next year in a room with Aaron Nolan and Cutter Woods, Gamecock fans should feel real good that there's 3 4-star quarterbacks that will be competing next year, assuming, of course, what we all are at this point, that Lenora Sellers will be moving on to the next level after this season.
Yeah, and with Duckworth, I was reading, again, he's already made strides, and look, like you said, a lot of these high school kids need to work on their mechanics, their footwork, all the little things throwing a football that make you better on the next level. But Charles Power on 3 was talking about how Duckworth had already seemed to improve a lot from the Under Armour camp to the Elite 11, which shows you he's putting the work in. And that's really what, look, man, you want workers, right? That's what you want. That's all we talk about is you want, the quarterback's got to be the first guy, last guy, right? And he's got to be the hardest worker. He's got to be a leader. In that regard. And if this kid's working that hard on footwork and mechanics and things of that nature where you see progress in, a few months, then that's a good sign as well. And his athletic ability. I have not seen these dunk video highlights yet. I hear my man's throwing down reverses. I hear it's sick.
It's impressive, man.
Yeah, I hear it's sick. It's like Jay Phillips vertical.
It's easy to find, yes, something like that. Something like that. This, in terms of the On3 rankings, puts Carolina currently at number 17 in the country, 9th in the Southeastern Conference. But another really big
say that again, because this always gets me. Ready? Where nationally?
Yeah, 17 nationally.
And where in the Southeastern Conference?
In the Southeastern Conference.
Hey, good news. You're 17th nationally.
Well, and that's just it. And some of the separation with with these score and
it's so little. Right.
I mean, for instance, Georgia. And again, I don't know how they do this score, but this particular score for Georgia as number 1 in the conference, 3rd nationally, is 8.98. South Carolina is at 8.37, tied with Florida. So basically, I'm not even sure what gives the Gators the edge, since they have the same score. And again, I don't care enough about the math.
There's a committee, Jay.
I guess so.
Yeah, there's a committee.
I guess so.
So
maybe Florida's just alphabetically ahead of South Carolina. I don't know, man. Like, for real, I don't know.
What the one in front of Florida and South Carolina? Who's in front of Florida and South Carolina?
In the SEC right now, Georgia is number 1 in the conference, 3rd nationally. Alabama 2-4, Texas 3-6, Ole Miss 4-8, Tennessee 5-10, LSU 6-11, A&M 7-13, Florida 8-16, Carolina 9-17.
So what's A&M's number? Just out of curiosity, 8 point what?
And real quick, well, I say and Oklahoma's 10-21. A&M's score on this particular on-3 ranking is 8.40.
So that's how little ahead they are of Florida and South Carolina.
Correct, but it's. I mean, again, I don't. Is it the difference in one kid runs a 4.42 and somebody else runs a 4.41? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what separate. I don't know.
But here's my thing: if you got a quarterback that can win a slam dunk contest, doesn't that give you something?
Yes, it should.
Shouldn't it?
Should.
Shouldn't we go by vertical leap of quarterbacks?
I honestly, I'd love to. I'm sure they got something in here that separates them, but very little separation. So, and really, especially between LSU and, let's say, Oklahoma, from 8.47 to 8.31, from 6 to 10. So it's small margins.
And the thing about this, with that recruiting class being 17th, it's such a roller coaster ride. Like, what was a few weeks ago, South Carolina missed out on a couple of 4-stars.
Yep.
But now here you get Duckworth, and now you get some momentum. You've had some other kids commit. It's such an up and down. And the thing is, and you know this, Jay, they've been in the room on a lot of these kids.
Yeah.
And you can't get them if you're not in the room, right?
Right.
That's step one. If you're sitting outside on the porch, you can't get them. You got to be in the room. And you just hope, again, you get more and more of them, but you're not going to get every one of them that you're a finalist for. It's just not going to happen, especially when you're fighting Georgia and, Florida or, Alabama. You're just not going to win but a certain amount of those battles.
It's tough.
It is, man.
But it's a good get. So
yeah, absolutely
again,
good. By the way, so you think if Hugh Freeze played less golf, Auburn would have got him?
I don't. I know you're kidding, but I from everything I've read, he loved Carolina the whole time, but just needed to know for sure that everything was in place for him.
Well, so think about it for a minute. He
at least as best you can.
He verbaled early, right? That was a really early verbal. Then all of a sudden, all these other schools are coming at you, and you go, wait a minute, let me make sure I got this right.
Well, and again, I think the biggest part for the decommitment was Dowell.
Yeah.
And then reconnecting again.
I hear Shula has a real good relationship with him in a short period of time.
Absolutely. I mean, I think he loves Shane and he loves Darren Usher, and he got to know Shula even while Dowell was recruiting him, but just needed to be sure. So I got no problem.
And look, this isn't
he handled it well.
Yeah, this isn't us pumping up Shane and the crew over there. It's very well known now that those visits, South Carolina lays it out for them. And all these kids walk out. Even if they don't go to South Carolina, they will even off the record say, hey, I had a great time. This seems like a really cool place to play, and the culture is good and whatever. So what they're doing there and just how they present themselves on these visits and how they recruit these kids has really put them in the mix.
Yeah. We'll talk more about the Gamecock recruiting. There's a couple other big names that happened again if you were maybe away, because we didn't get into a lot of this while we were at Media Day, so there are some other things to do. We'll touch on that for you coming up in our Gamecock segment at 5:15. To our other integrated media headlines of the day, of course, yesterday, Scotty Scheffler winning his 4th major championship and his 3rd in terms of the career Grand Slam. He's got the Masters, the PGA, now an Open championship, so he needs a U.S. Open at some point before he turns 50.
He's running out of time, Jay.
He's
only
29.
30.
He's 29. Harris English of the United States finished second at 13 under par to Scotty's 17 under. Chris Gotterup from New Jersey finished 12 under. Wyndham Clark led a group of 3 players at 11 under. Of course, Wyndham had some off-course troubles of late that he had to rectify. By the way, on that real quick, if you didn't see, Wyndham Clark damaged a couple of lockers at Oakmont at the U.S. Open. This was after he had thrown a club at another event just a couple of weeks prior. And, he gave I thought it was going to be private. Like, dude, nothing's private anymore. Sorry.
And here's the other part.
Like the Coldplay cam. Have you seen that story?
Right. How dare you invade my privacy? Oh, so you took your mistress to a public concert.
Dude, have you seen what the Phillies did?
Yes. Hilarious.
Brilliant.
One of the funniest things. Basically, if you missed it, the Philly Fanatic and Miss Fanatic.
It was awesome.
And the mistress.
I feel bad. Look, I feel bad for this guy, the real guy's family.
Oh yeah, I do too.
That's not. But yeah. Anyway, but nothing's private anymore.
No, and with Wyndham, look, man, who caused this mess?
Yeah, you did it.
You did.
He's like, I didn't know they were going to send a letter to the membership. Well, this is what clubs do. The club is the members.
Right.
You don't get to talk to just like the chairman of the club. And I mean, the club is the members, and the members need to know that this
busted
happened.
up the place, right?
Yeah.
And you can't act like that, dude.
No.
Come on.
So anyway, Wyndham Clark finishes with Matt Fitzpatrick of England and Hao-Tung Lee, who had a great weekend. Good for him. Was just a little collapse late. Robert McIntyre, Xander Schauffele, Rory McIlroy finished tied for 7th at 10 under par. And Bryson DeChambeau, who I'm not a big fan of, and a lot of people aren't, finished at a group with 9 under, including Brian Harmon, who won 2 years ago, Ricky Fowler right behind him. But Bryson had a 78 on day one.
Yeah.
And then went 65, 68, 64.
He grinded himself back into the top 10,
to finish tied for 10th. So good for him. Atlanta Braves are back at it tonight against San Francisco Giants. Braves dropping 2 of 3. They shouldn't have because they were up 6-0 on Saturday, and then the thing that had been their strength for 20 years has been their heel all season. The Braves bullpen blew it, and they lost to the Yankees on Saturday, and then lost yesterday 4-2 to New York. So I thought they'd win the series. And I felt good because you asked me. I think that was was that a Jay versus the internet?
Yep.
And you asked me if the Braves, I was like, yeah, sure. The Braves will win the series. And I thought
they were 3 outs away from winning the series.
Thought they were going to. And then the bullpen decided to be the bullpen.
And the sad part is, you're snit. You're not going to use your closer in a 6-0 game, right? So you bring in someone else and get 3 outs. You think, in theory, they can't get the outs. Now you got to bring your closer in. And he comes there with gasoline and some hand grenades. And before you know it, you blow a 6-run lead. Sounds painful.
Sounds about right.
Painful.
Finally, in our integrated media headlines, a couple of NFL stories. First, sad news for former Kentucky quarterback and now Titans quarterback Will Levis. He will have shoulder surgery, and they call it season ending. The thing is, he doesn't even begin the season. It's just season skipping surgery, the way I would look at it. He had an AC joint injury against the Dolphins on September 30th, and it has simply not healed correctly at all. And even though they've tried to give it the time, which a lot of orthopedists, I know, I read it in here, they were hoping that some of the therapy he was doing and some of the rehab he was doing was going to allow him to heal nearly a year after the injury. I mean, it's been 10 months. And as they get into camp and did a whole big, deep dive into it, they realized, man, this thing's not fixed.
No.
So now they got to go in and fix it. So that's basically 2 seasons that he's going to miss when all is said and done.
And his time with the Titans is done. Let's just.
Well, I hope I mean, and look, I thought, I was always kind of torn on him. I really thought he would be about a 3rd round pick. I think he went. Where did he end up? I can't remember.
He went 2nd round.
2nd round.
Yeah.
But there's talk. Remember, he could be a top 10 pick. And I was like, I don't see it. I watch enough Kentucky and SEC football. I was like, I don't see that. But at the same time, you never want a guy to
not this.
And look, the Titans haven't been great while he's been there, so it's just been a lot of things working against him.
Remember, changing coaching staff, they didn't give him a lot of help. And I think he was drafted a little higher than he should have been, which raises expectations.
I think so too.
I watched him that 1 year at Kentucky, for when his first year as a starter.
Right.
You saw the holes in his game.
Yeah.
even then.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for him.
People said, because he's a big kid, has like the tools.
He looks like a quarterback when he gets off the bus.
I never saw him as a first round. Certainly not a top 10 pick, but NFL does a lot of weird things. But good luck to Will Levis. That's our Integrated Media headlines of the day. By the way, Integrated is looking for brand new installers and techs. If you want to change your career and you're into working for great people, just go to Integrated Media Inc., INC, integratedmediainc.com. And the job descriptions are on there as their business continues to grow across the Midlands. Come back on the other side. More on the Landon Duckworth commitment and some other big gets for the Gamecock football team. You're listening to the Postgame Show. And even more about Integrated Media. In addition to being a great place to work, well, why are they growing? Because they are the best at what they do when it comes to installing the latest in home theater technology and so much more all across your house. Not just your television and your sound system, but your security system, lights, thermostat, all can be controlled from one app on your phone or tablet. Maybe you are looking for a great outdoor system. You love being outside, around the pool, on the deck, on the patio, especially when we get into the fall weather for football. They install outdoor home theater that looks and sounds like everything does inside. Trust me on this. They can even install an in-ground subwoofer to where you will either be the envy of your neighborhood or something different. That's how awesome it is. That's all I'm going to say about that. No, I love what they have done for me, and you will too. So check them out. Get ahead of the football rush, 803-948-8327, Integrated Media. 19 minutes after 5 o'clock here on a Monday afternoon. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Watch out for your pets. Watch out for the maybe older folks in your neighborhood. It is 95 degrees. Heat index well over 100. So do take care of those folks and everything else going on because it's hot.
Yeah. This morning, man, I walked out to come here. Whew.
Yeah.
That was like this morning.
So my and I take.
What time do you dog walk?
I take early before 8, like for the initial one anyway. But today, like sometimes I'll let the lab likes to, she just doesn't care sometimes. But today, so I just let her out there for a while and just let her roam around right in the backyard. Mm-hmm. And like you get to know your dog like you know your kids, right? Mm-hmm. And dogs are like any of us that have had dogs. Like your dog is just like anything else. They have you know what their bark means, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
There's an alarmed bark. There's an angry bark. There's all kinds of. But mine, she's 5. She has a I'm ready to come in bark, and it's just one. It's a quick burst. And so I'm at my desk, and I don't know. I think she'd been out there for maybe 15 minutes. I don't know, and it's like. Right around lunchtime, and it's not that I forgot about her per se, but you know, she's just I know she's fine,
right, sure.
Right, and so I hear this, you know, I won't try to mimic a 85-pound Labrador Retriever's bark, but I was like, oh, I guess she's ready to come in, but it's like, hey, buddy,
dude, it's hot out here.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what I felt like, right?
I'm wearing a coat, pal.
I mean, I think, oh man, and that's another thing. She's been in. I was like, how do you have hair left?
She's shedding
so much, and she has been for like
a
month. Yeah, I could like fill a mattress. I'm glad you eat good food and keep it regenerating all that. How do you have hair? It's everywhere. It's crazy, and because of her color, like it's easily seen on our dark floors. But it was so funny today. It was just one like, hey,
she was done, man.
Hey, yeah, it's hot. That's what she
out
did
here, bro.
But it was just the one. I was like, I guess I need to go get you.
Right.
And she's looking at me like, where you been? I was like, well, you didn't bark yet. You know.
It's like, pal.
Yeah.
I'm sweating here. Let's go.
Yeah. So it was pretty.
You
fun.
sit in the AC, punk.
Before we get into some Gamecock recruiting news for you, again, we told you about Landon Duckworth top of the hour, but if you missed it, we'll get back into that. That happened on Friday, but we are start bench dropping today, and today it is 3 of the 4 golf majors. We excluded the Masters for good reasons. Again, my belief in coming up with this morning is that all of you, myself included, all of us, would likely have started the Masters.
Yeah.
I mean, a few of you might have said something else. So I don't want to like throw a whole blanket over it.
I mean, look, the Masters, and forget being here and being, what'd you say, 72.664 miles?
72 miles from this studio to the front drive there on Washington Avenue.
Most folks, whether you're really into golf or maybe you're just a casual sports fan who pays attention to the majors, the Masters is different, man. It just is. It's just different.
Washington Road, Magnolia. What do they call the thing? Magnolia Lane?
Yeah.
Yeah, Washington Road, right? Not Avenue.
No, it's road. It's okay.
I've been to the Chick-fil-A. I've been to the Masters, too. Don't get me wrong. But
your first thought was I've been to the Chick-fil-A.
Well, a lot of people.
That's where you went. Ready? Chick-fil-A.
Well, because Washington Road, like, that's where if you're like a lot of people, and you know, y'all raise your hand. If you're going over to Atlanta, the easiest place to stop for lunch or something typically is just stop on Washington Road because it's got everything. Mm-hmm. Even John Daly's Hooters. I guess it's still there. Hadn't been in a while.
Does this say John Daly's Hooters on the front of it?
No, but it may as well. Yeah.
Just that phrase brings up a lot of really bad ideas in your head.
Yes.
Really does.
So start bench drop, get into a few of them. Our good friend Coach McGee Moody just texted me. Thank you, Coach. Start U.S. Open, bench British Open, drop the PGA.
Interesting.
Now, what was funny is that Coach Bill McDonald, a literal golf professional for more than 30 years, nearly 40 years, not to age him too much.
We started when he was 6, right?
Yeah. Started the Open, that's the British, started the Open, benched the PGA, dropped U.S. Open, but he said basically it's because in my golf mind, the U.S. Open is basically, it's just like frightening.
Yeah, because they torture golfers
in a good
for
way.
4 days.
In a good way.
Yeah. It's funny. I never really knew how in depth that was until I got the John Feinstein book about the majors.
Right.
A Good Walk Spoiled, right? And so I'm reading this thing, and the stuff they do, the people at the U.S. Open, what they do to basically trick that course out to make it miserable is unbelievable.
Narrow the fairways. The first cut is somewhat penalizing. Obviously, again, you can lose small children in most of the second cut. It seems like.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So. And even once they get to the greens.
Yeah.
The stuff they do, and they're like, they go back and giggle, right? And
sure.
they go and they're done with this.
They want even par to be the score. They don't,
I think that one was written at Bethpage Black.
Which
I think that's where they.
I wouldn't even want to wait in line to ever go play Bethpage, which is what you have to do. I remember playing it for the first time on the video game, and I was like, my God, this is just a video game with me holding a controller in my hands. Albert says start the PGA because he says Kiowa and Quail Hollow are in the rotation. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, that's fair. Bench U.S. Drop the British. He says love it too, but have to pick one to drop. You do. That's why they're hard. Steven says start the U.S. Bench the Open. Drop the PGA. Taylor says start the Open. Bench the U.S. Open. Drop the PGA. By the way, shout out Taylor. That's my cousin Taylor.
It's your cousin Taylor?
It is, for real. I wouldn't make
For real cousin Taylor?
This is my for real cousin Taylor. Yes.
For real cousin Taylor.
Hitting me on Twitter. Thank you, Taylor. Sam says easiest one in a while. Start U.S. Open. I enjoy the carnage and struggle. Again, great for us, right?
I'll be honest with you. I have golfing buddies who love that
I do too.
To watch the professionals, basically get slowly gutted for 4 days.
Yeah, no, because one of the things that golf fans and people that play, because we can all play. That's the beauty of golf, and I think that's why golf is so popular on television, because it's accessible. We can all go play golf. We all understand to some degree what playing golf is like. I don't know that we really understand what playing NFL football or Major League Baseball. We might know what playing football and baseball are like, but in the sense that we can it's just not. You know what I mean? But golf is accessible, and so when we see a guy hitting out of the woods, hitting out of the rough,
hitting the ball in the
out of the
parking
sand,
lot, right?
Having to hit it backwards, because he screwed it up so bad. You're like, hey, I did that the other day at the local Muni.
Exactly.
So all right, I'm not the only one. He says bench the Open. The history of the tournament is incredible. He says cut PGA, and he says meh. So thank you, Sam. And JW says start the Open, bench the U.S. Open, drop the PGA. Franklin says start U.S., bench PGA, drop British Open. There you go.
Interesting.
We'll give you hours coming up in a little bit. We'll get some on the text line if you want to hit us on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. All right, a couple of things real quick here. Gamecock recruiting-wise, again, South Carolina landing the number 8 quarterback in the nation, Landon Duckworth, on Friday night. He committed at his high school, had a terrific summer at the Elite 11 camp, chose Carolina over Auburn. Primarily over Auburn, but had offers from, amongst others, Mississippi, Florida State, Georgia, A&M, Florida, Oregon, North Carolina, and Arkansas. Carolina last week also getting 4-star offensive lineman Kamari Blair from Clarksville, Tennessee. So good to go into Tennessee. You mentioned that with Hale McGranahan earlier, Terry, that Carolina was branching farther out, than the 2 border states where they primarily get their kids, obviously in-state, not counting. So they did that. And on Thursday last week, Carolina got 3-star athlete Tristan Lewis. So last year as a junior, he was a quarterback, 3,100 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, also ran for more than 600 yards and 12 touchdowns in 14 games. So a good week. And Carolina moved to number 17 nationally in the On3 recruiting rankings, good for, as we speak, 9th in the Southeastern Conference.
And look, man, I know the world of transfer portal, it's like free agency and like baseball, but just like baseball, you need a good farm system, and that's your high school recruiting and developing.
Absolutely. Well, it used to be the lifeblood. Now things are changing a little bit, but I don't think any great program can ever remain great without continuing to recruit and develop.
You got
Again, you'll go plug the holes with transfer guys, but you gotta get it done right. We'll go over a few things from the SEC Media Days that we didn't get to last week, and I'm going to include the Big Ten preseason media poll in the drive around the SEC because it just came out. We'll get that for you on the other side. It's the Postgame Show. Guys not feeling like yourself as you're getting older and you're saying like, man, that wasn't bothering me a year ago or even 6 months ago. And now all of a sudden, I'm going, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that. Maybe I'll wait it out. No, don't wait for it to change or go away. Instead, see Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the men's clinic. You'll get a one-on-one consultation. They'll get to know you, ask about what's going on in your daily life, what's different about it, and then work to get you back to feeling the way you want to, the way you used to. No such thing as a one-size-fits-all treatment at the men's clinic. Many times, guys, that when they're feeling off, think, I'll tough it out. Or my dad never went to the doctor. My granddad never went to the doctor. Why should I? Nah, don't be that guy. Get to feeling better when you see Dr. Dan and his team. They're experts in healthcare for men dedicated to making you feel like yourself again. Set up an initial consultation, 803-875-MENS. And learn more at themensclinicsc.com.
All right, there we have a new accident, Augusta Road at I-26 in Columbia. That just popped up here a little bit ago. Congaree at Garners Ferry Road, so the accident's being taken care of there. Greenlaw Drive at Garners Ferry as well. I-20 eastbound US 601 exit 92, also an accident. And also construction like always, I-20, I-26, I-26 between Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road as well. And 26 at Hugie also. You have long-term construction. Drive around the SEC coming up next here on the Postgame Show on the Game.
It is Drive Around the SEC time here on a Monday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. One more quick note. McGee Moody also weighed in and said he loves the carnage of the U.S. Open. It is fun, man. I mean, but I get why a competitive golfer like Coach McDonald would not. You know, I get it. And plus, Bill, you know, he's been out to a couple of U.S. Opens with some of his guys back in the day and told me some of the stories of just it's brutal, man.
Yeah,
it's
so that's
brutal.
what they want.
It's what
they want.
That's what
pros to suffer.
Yeah, it's what the people that aren't playing want.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not the people.
Exactly.
Not the people that are.
All right, I'll give you a start bench drop real quick off the Firehouse subtext line 803-404-6100. By the way, I want to thank our friends at AAA Heating and Air, who now are official sponsors of our phone
I thank them more for keeping me comfortable in my home.
That too.
But
man, when you needed help the one time, they were right there. By the time you hung the phone up, they were standing on the porch.
Basically.
Remember that story. Start the players. Bench the Thermo Open and drop the U.S. Open. I don't know. That's our text line. Also, start U.S. Open, bench British Open, Cup PGA. That's from Jacob. Let's see if I got.
I mean, I don't mind people giving me other ones, but we're trying to keep this focused.
Yes.
The Players is a fine tournament.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, the thing about the Players that's funny is people know one hole.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
You know?
Uh-huh.
It's like, what if I ask you, like, what do you think about the 12th hole at the Players?
They have 12 holes?
Right.
I know that.
They don't all just play the island green 18 times.
But
no,
I know it's looked at as the fifth major, but yeah, let's just stick to make it easy.
There's a boatload of money available for the winner of the Players Championship, which this year was Rory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So where are you at? Start bench cut, sir.
I'll give it to you before we do Jay versus the Internet.
You still working at it?
I'm still processing.
Really? Okay.
I'm still processing. I know what I'm dropping.
Mm-hmm. I
know what I'm dropping.
This is pretty cut and dry for me. Once you take the Masters out.
Right. Yeah, I know what I'm dropping.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. If you missed it, the preseason SEC media poll results were announced. Texas. This was on Friday, but again, some of you might have been away. So as we do the drive around the SEC, which is what we're doing, even though I have golf, Texas was picked to win the Southeastern Conference. Not every school got a vote to be the SEC champion. Mm-hmm. And I'll remind you, too, in case you're wondering, like, oh, wait, who would pick that? The SEC, and they've done this for the last several years, now you can only pick an SEC champion for whoever you pick to be first and second. Right. And it used to, and then for a couple of years before, when they still had divisions, you could only pick from those two. Like before that, Terry, you could pick who you thought would win the divisions, and then you could pick somebody else to be the champion, which, was kind of counterproductive. So for anybody thinking that there's like cynics out there, oh, they picked so-and-so, but then they picked like just some nut job picks somebody to win. Mm-hmm. If you didn't pick a school 1 or 2, then you can't pick them to win the SEC. So just to keep that in mind. But Texas was picked with 96 people picking them over Georgia with 44. Alabama had 29 picks to win. And again, this is to win the conference title game. Alabama had 29. LSU had 20. South Carolina had 5.
How about that?
So South Carolina was picked 5th, but this is not the order of finish. This is SEC champion. Oklahoma 3, Vandy 2.
Really?
Florida 2.
So Vandy had as many as Florida?
Yeah. And Tennessee, Mississippi, and Auburn 1 each.
So Vandy got more than Ole Miss
and Tennessee. Yeah. Now, which makes, I'm sure Vol Twitter sees this and it gets apoplectic. But again, for South Carolina to get 5, that means at least 5 people had to put South Carolina in the SEC championship game. We did look today. I'll get them for you. We'll do this tomorrow because we're not going to have time today. But Brett McMurphy put out the odds to just make the playoff. South Carolina's odds to make the playoff plus 550. Meaning if you put it down a $100 bet, you would win $550 should South Carolina make the SEC championship game.
I mean, that's not a bad way to take a little shot with 100. Get yourself 550.
Yeah,
not bad.
It's not.
I say you put 100 of your money and you give me 100 of your money and we'll both put it down.
Yeah, I would do that if I bet. But
Well, then here's a-
I don't. I'm not anti-gambling on moral grounds. Some are, and that's fine. I'm anti-gambling on keeping my money where it belongs. Grounds.
So here's what I want to do, because I don't want you to get in trouble for putting down a bet. Why don't you give me $100 and I'll go put the bet down?
Okay.
That way you're not involved.
Are you making that bet here in Columbia?
Wherever you need me to make the bet.
Well, I'm just saying because you can't do that in South Carolina.
No,
so
I want to
if
go
you
make
are,
the bet across state lines where it's legal. Well, in Maryland it's legal, so when I go to Maryland I can make the bet.
Okay, sure.
That's
I
the
know
first thing I'll do.
Is that big casino near where the football team plays? They have a sports book.
Yeah, they got a big casino there, right? Not far from M&T Bank Stadium.
Yeah.
Yep. And you go a little bit farther, and it's a neighborhood you really don't want to venture around.
Right.
Not far from the casino.
Well, there's a big casino near D.C. too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a cool casino. And there's a casino out in a couple counties away from Baltimore, too. There's a nice casino. Yeah, they got them popping up.
Okay.
For some reason, people like to go there, spend money.
Spend money.
I didn't say make money, did I?
Lose.
Yes. Yes.
It is spending, I suppose.
It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah. But for Carolina to have 5, I look again. It means that enough people, and I don't know who it was. And if you're wondering, it wasn't me. Not that I don't think Carolina has a chance. I'd probably say that's about right. I mean, I voted them 5th. They finished 5th in the vote.
Right.
But I picked Texas and Georgia in the title game. I picked Georgia to win the SEC.
I have Georgia to win this, and I had South Carolina 6th. So,
Right.
but I'm like you. Until you take out Freddie Krueger, I'm picking Freddie Krueger.
Well, that's how I feel. And again, if Georgia had a down year last year and still beat Texas twice, and had to do one of them with their number 2 quarterback, I like the fact that Georgia knows what they've got to do better this year, and I have every reason to believe that Kirby will make those things happen.
I think the line of scrimmage will get back to being Georgia type this year.
Well, you got to run the ball, and that's part of what they couldn't do last year is do enough.
And
run
they still
volume.
beat Texas twice.
Yes.
And one was in Austin.
Yes, that's why I told as many people as will listen. Not that Georgia doesn't need me to say. Georgia's really good. they don't need me for that. But yeah, neither game was in Athens.
Nope.
And like I said too, somebody said, "Well, Atlanta." I was like, "Dude, I know Atlanta is an hour from Athens,
It's a different vibe, man.
but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
And plenty of Texas people can
They
get
show.
tickets.
Last time I checked, they travel.
Yeah, and they can get. It's easy to get to Atlanta, and it was easy to get to. They ain't cheap for the SEC title game, but you can get them.
Well, everybody in Texas has an oil well in their backyard.
That's right.
It's all good.
That's
Like the Beverly Hillbillies.
But Georgia fans aren't listen, even if you gave them oil well money, Georgia fans aren't selling like this year. I'm really curious to see. I mean, other than the allotment, obviously, right? I mean, Texas will probably get 8,000, something like that at Sanford. I'm curious to see how many more Texas fans there are. And the reason I say that, remember when Georgia went to Notre Dame? Mm-hmm. What was that, 5 or 6 years ago?
Yep.
Yeah, I forget exactly what year. Place was half red.
Huh?
It's Notre Dame.
I know.
I'm like, y'all,
Come on. What's
what
up
are you doing?
Well, some guy went, how much you want to give me for those tickets?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that, like at Georgia, because here's the thing, like everybody knows this, right? You have like your seat neighbor. And if you've been going to games for a long time, like your seat neighbor is as close to you as like your brother-in-law or something. But if you were to sell the ticket, like where's Billy? And all of a sudden next to you is a Texas fan.
Right.
Then when Billy comes back for the game against Vandy or whatever, you're like, "Hey,
What's up, bud?"
Billy, what happened?"
Isn't it interesting
And then
how,
Billy says, "I just paid like 3 months of my mortgage."
right, dude, you understand, I just bought a car. But isn't it interesting how the world has changed with that? Because when you and I were growing up, you're going to get my tickets out of my cold, dead hands.
Yeah.
And now it's like, how much?
Well,
What?
I get it.
I do too.
But that's why I'm saying.
do
That's
too.
why I'm
I
saying.
get it.
I'll be curious to see beyond the allotment how many Texas fans make their way to Sanford Stadium simply because they went to whomever and said, "I'll give you this." Tell you what, man,
Right. I ain't giving up my tickets.
Double
how
it.
much? What?
double it. I tell you what. Yeah.
You're going to double it? Okay.
That's the drive around the SEC. We'll give you, I'll give you my at least start bench drop, and we'll get the little Jay versus the internet. I don't even know how I'm doing these days. You're listening to the Postgame Show. This is the bump where sometimes I do my Dita. Welcome back to the program. But I won't go in depth. I don't want to freak anybody out. Well, I kind of do. If he loves the sports talking.
Lebowski.
Welcome back in. I got to be a Met fan for a day later this week, Terry Ford. Ask me why.
Why, Jay Phillips?
Because Paige McConnell, the piano and keyboard player for Phish, a lifelong Met fan, is going to be throwing out the first pitch at their game later this weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got to be.
I don't have to be a Met
fan. You can just be a.
I'm a Phish
Paige
fan.
McConnell fan for the
Paige.
first pitch.
Yeah.
That's all. Then you go back to hating the Mets.
Just go.
Throw the first pitch and just don't be 50 Cent.
That's right.
That's all.
Do it well.
That's right.
Yeah. Do everybody proud.
Don't hit a guy drinking a beer in the box seats.
That's
and
right.
all's good.
Before we get to Jay versus the internet, I'll give you my start, bench, drop, and so we got a few others on the text line and on the Twitters. Let's see, on Twitter we have Pastor P says start the Open for one big reason, the only major where their radio coverage plays from the first shot until the last, and I often find myself driving during Open Week, and I appreciate that they take care of fans like that. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Little radio shout out. He says bench the U.S. Open, drop the PGA. D says start the Open, bench the PGA. Interesting. Drop the U.S. Okay. Interesting.
What do you got? Where are you going?
I am starting. This was tough. It was not hard to drop. So I'll just tell y'all, I'm dropping the PGA.
Mm-hmm.
I just the PGA Championship, it's cool, and when you win one, it's a major. I get it, but you know what? The thing I like about the other three is that technically they are open to all, and I'll explain in a minute. Even though the Masters is an invitation only, and the Masters is not here. If you're wondering, we exclude the Masters because everybody would start the Masters. At least the vast majority of us would start the Masters. I'm dropping the PGA. Again, PGA is open to literally professional golfers only. Everything else is wide open. I'm going to start the U.S. Open.
Okay.
I get where Coach
like
McDonald's coming from, but I do, man. It's just such a grueling test.
It is.
And I love the Open Championship. One thing I like, I will say this too, and you know, Terry, you know what kind of English soccer fan I am. I like the fact that I can get up at 7 and it's on, man.
Yeah.
So once a year, it's on. And kind of to Pastor P's point, you know, there's so many people. There's something about it, like the birthplace of golf. But I'm going to start the U.S. I'm going to bench the Open, drop the PGA. But what I mean by available to everyone, the Masters has an open invitation to the Open winner,
right?
The U.S. Open winner, the amateur winners of those two countries, and anybody can enter those things. The pub links, all of you. They also, in a way, the Masters is accessible to anyone.
Right.
Now, are you going to make it? Probably not.
I went British Open. I'm starting. I love that. I just love watching links golf on TV.
Yeah.
And I love,
especially when the weather. Again, the weather this weekend the weather was too nice.
I want bad weather.
Yeah.
I want these dudes in raincoats.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and they've got like galoshes on,
Right.
and they're playing. And I do. I like the British. I love links golf on TV. I just do.
Yeah.
I am going to bench the U.S. Open because I'm not a golfer, but it is great to watch the greatest golfers in the world play like dudes.
Once a week, we get to see them struggle.
Course. And then the PGA, because I gotta drop one.
Yeah.
And I just think the British Open and the U.S. Open are on a different level than the PGA out of the majors.
They are.
That's just me.
Yeah, they are.
That's me.
So there you go. All right. Jay versus the internet.
Oh, we can't do it without the proper music,
Oh, that's
sir.
right.
Give me a second
right.
here. You know, and get you in the right mood.
Miss the music. Well, it's frightening.
Yeah, I don't want to scare you.
Yeah.
You're 3 behind, sir. So you're getting there.
Okay.
You ready?
Again, I was 8 behind. So
Yes, you're doing much better. All right, you got the 3 best teams in baseball playing tonight: the Tigers, the Cubs, and the Brewers by record. Which one of those teams will score the most runs? I'm going to give you the schedule. Hang in there. Out of these 3 teams, Tigers are in Pittsburgh to play the Pirates. Pirates have a winning record at home, by the way. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
So it's not as bad as you think.
Yeah.
All right, then you move on. The Cubs are hosting the Royals. Cubs are really good at home this year, 32-17.
Yeah.
But that's more of a pitcher-friendly park than you would think. And the Mariners are hosting the Brewers, and Seattle, of course, is where hitters go to die.
Cubs.
Cubs? All right, take Cubs. All righty. Aaron Judge versus Vlad Jr., Yankees and Blue Jays. Who gets the most total bases tonight, Judge or Vlad Jr.?
Rodon is pitching versus Gausman. Judge.
All right, and finally, Shohei Ohtani, his last outing threw 5 pitches at 99 miles an hour. Outing before that, hit 100 once. Outing before that, hit 103 times, including 101. Over-under for Ohtani going 100 miles an hour, 1.5. Over-under. Will he throw over 1.5 pitches, triple digits, or under?
Wow. You know what? Give me 2, so over.
All right, take the over.
He'll do 2. Who are they playing?
All right, the Dodgers are trying to get off the schneid after the Brewers smacked them again. Dodgers are hosting the Twins.
Yeah.
Who have been scuffling.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be a nice night in L.A. because it always is. Yeah, he'll. So I just need him to throw 100, not 101.
Just 100
just
twice.
100 twice.
100 twice. That's
okay,
all you need.
Yeah, he's going to do that. He's going to do that. I feel very good about that one. All right, we'll do it again tomorrow.
Right, see you.
And one final note from our great friends at AAA Heating and Air. Roy and Dana Finley want to make sure that you and your family are not just comfortable this summer when it's really hot, but for many summers to come. First, let me just say, if your system currently is not doing what you need it to do, maybe it hasn't been serviced in a while or inspected in a while, call 803-677-1500 and let AAA send one of their great techs out, usually within a few hours. If